Good morning. I'd like to welcome everybody this morning. This time I'll call on Ms. Blackwell to give a prayer.
Dear Lord, we thank you for this opportunity to gather together. May our hearts and minds be united in a common purpose, and may we engage in meaningful discussion. Grant us wisdom and discernment, and help us to work together effectively. We ask this in your name. Amen.
Amen. At this time, I call this meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I'd like to announce that anybody that would like to speak during our public hearings, when we get to that part, please sign up on the sheet that's over in the corner over there. I don't want to miss anybody who would like to speak. You have the minutes, board members, you have the minutes to our April 14th, 2025 board meeting. I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Motion been made. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the motion carries. You also have the minutes of our April 14th meeting. Entertain a motion to approve.
Mr. Chair, so moved.
Motion been made. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the motion carries. Mr. Hendrick, Planning and Zoning.
Mr. Chairman, board members, before I get started, I would like to introduce Lucky Carson. He's the county new planner that just came on board.
Okay.
Good morning.
Welcome. We certainly welcome you to the county. Good to have you.
I think he'll do the county a great job. Okay. The first application we have is a request by Michael Olby for a special exception permit to operate an ATV repair shop on the property. This property identified as county tax number 142000-A-00481 and partial record number 38416 is owned as agricultural. It's located on the west side of Route 789 Bowers Road and approximately a half mile north of its intersection with Route 735 White House Road, Election District 9, County of Mecklenburg, reference deed book LR-17-841.
Okay. Election District 9.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to make a motion we accept the special exemption permit application based off the Planning Commission's recommendation.
Wait a minute, you got to do the public hearing. Well, we got a public hearing. We'll now open the public hearing on this application. Anybody wish to speak on behalf of the application? Hearing none, we'll open the public hearing for this application. Anybody wishing to speak? Hearing none, District 9.
Yes, sir. I'd like to make a motion we accept the special exemption permit application based off the Planning Commission's recommendation.
All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The motion carries. Thank you.
You have an application request by Garland Pillett for a special exception for a third residence home on the property. This property identified as county tax number 145000-09-01 and partial record number 39332. It's zoned agriculture, is located on the east side of Route 871, Sandy Fork Road, approximately half mile south of its intersection with Highway 58. Election District 1, County of Mecklenburg, reference D book B&P 163-453 and wheel book WF 20-429.
Okay, anybody wishing to speak on behalf of the application? Hearing none, I'll open the public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak? Hearing no one, I will close the public hearing. District 1.
Yes, sir. I recommend that we receive special exception permit for the application of Garnet Pitter, recommended by the Planning Commission.
Okay, motion's been made. All in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Then the motion carries.
On Monday, May 12, 2025, it is meeting beginning at 9:30 a.m. in the Board of Supervisors meeting room of the Goose Bank Building, located at 350 Washington Street, Boarded, Virginia 23917. The Mecklenburg County Board of Supervisors will conduct a public hearing for the proposal receiving public comment on proposed solar facility siting agreement and proposed siting development conditions between Seven Bridges Solar LLC, county to set out parameters related to its proposed 80-megawatt facility covers County Partial Record 7779. At the conclusion of the public hearing, the board may adopt the solar facility siting agreement and proposed siting development conditions as is, may adopt the agreement and conditions with modifications, may decline to adopt the agreement and conditions, or may defer actions to a later board meeting.
Okay. Anyone wishing to speak on behalf of the application? Cliff?
All right, good morning, supervisors, board chair, staff. Thank you very much for giving us time to do this morning. As you all know, I'm Cliff Scher. I work for Long Road Energy. I'm a development director. We are a developer, owner, and operator of renewable energy projects. And we're active across the country, and we've been developing the Seven Bridges Solar Project since 2017. As you've gotten handouts this morning that include this presentation and also some information on the some of the supporters. We also have other supporters beyond those emails that are in the binder that you received this morning. But first, to zoom out a little bit, I just want to share some information on solar, as that it is a proven technology. It's in demand by utilities, corporate customers, small businesses, and residences. In 2024, 50,000 megawatts of solar was added to the grid versus only 2,400 megawatts of gas. And part of the reason for that is because the cost of solar has fallen over 80% since 2009. So on a levelized cost of energy basis, on average, solar the levelized cost of energy is solar is lower than any other power generation technology. Now, to get more local, in 2023, Virginia imported more electricity than any other state. That 36% of the electricity supply in 2023 came from outside Virginia. And Virginia energy demand is expected to double in the next 10 years. So it seems clear that there's a need for more sources of energy to meet the demands of businesses and residents. And as most people know, our project is located just over about 3.5 miles outside of Chase City. There's existing transmission infrastructure there that is key to connecting to the grid. Now, since 2017, when we first got a contract in place with the landowner, the project area has been reduced by 50%, incorporating feedback from the community and others. The project itself is well sited with minimal to no visibility of the solar project from public roads or neighbors. And we've been communicating with you all and with the community as a whole throughout that development time. The community feedback that we've received sparked us to do a number of things to address that feedback. And one of those things is conserving 250 acres between our project and the South Meharon River. Another is that we often get the question, how is this project going to affect my electricity rates? And we sell electricity into the wholesale market, but what we found is a way to help people through a utility bill assistance program that the Ruritan Club is already running. We're planning to make a donation to that program to expand that program across Mecklenburg County. And the thing that we like about their program is that it can be used by customers of Dominion or Mecklenburg Electric Cooperative. We also added a western access road to Highway 49 Courthouse Road to reduce construction traffic impacts on Scotts Cross Road. And part of that relates to, there's been talk of good neighbor agreements. You all I've just submitted the original hard copy of the affidavit that I shared with the county earlier, confirming that we are not utilizing good neighbor agreements on this project. We haven't had discussions on that since early 2024. Since that time, we've added a construction access road to the west that addresses the concerns that people had about construction impacts on Scotts Crossroads. So the siting agreement that was submitted late last year includes the changes that I just mentioned, the 250 acres and the western access road, and also includes the commitment that we've made to Chase City years ago to help the town through a donation of $500,000, as well as an increase in capital payments to Mecklenburg County, payable up to within the 30 days of project operation. So that increases from $2 million to $2.5 million. And then there's revenue share payments, as is Virginia law, that total more than $7 million over the project life. Now, to get into the details of the project, on the top row of pictures here are existing conditions. The bottom is simulations of after our project is installed. So you can see the existing access road that would be improved during construction on Scotts Crossroads is the picture on the left. The middle picture is another view from Scotts Crossroads, and the picture on the right is a view of a location where there would be, that's not along the roads or the Scotts Cross Road or at South Meharon. That's a view actually where there's a 150-foot setback from the property boundary. So as you can see, the project is well shielded from neighbors. This map includes the 250-acre conservation area on the north side of the project. And you can see on the east, there's setbacks of 400 to greater than 2,000 feet from Scotts Crossroads. To the south, there's a 1,500-acre timber property that the owner plans to continue to operate as a timber property. And Highway 49 Courthouse Road is 3/4 of a mile to the west. So as you can see, this project is well shielded. And also, it's worth noting that while our project has been downsized from 942 acres to 435 over the 8-year development timeline, that remaining fenced footprint would provide approximately 390 acres potentially for sheep grazing. So it would provide, we're working with farmers in Southside Virginia to provide support to the agricultural community, and they in service would help us maintain our project location. Here is another view from the South Meharon River. You can see the hill sloping across the river up towards the project site. That would be in the 250-acre conservation area. So the project is uphill from the South Meharon River, well screened with a healthy setback. Now, since this is the discussion on the siting agreement, I've included here a summary on the economic benefits of the project. During construction, the project is expected to support over $30 million in economic output. That includes $17 million in direct spending and $14 million in indirect and induced spending, and that's strictly in Mecklenburg County impacts. I mentioned the revenue to Chase City and Mecklenburg County already. During construction, we expect over 150 construction jobs, resulting in more than $5 million in labor income. And we also plan to utilize solar panels made by First Solar, who we have a long-standing relationship with. First Solar supported by over 16,000 American jobs across their company and their supply chain. We have, over our Long Road Energy's development career, we've utilized over 1,600 megawatts of First Solar panels, and we look forward to continuing to do that. So I'll close with this as, just pointing out that we have not just a proven track record in Mecklenburg County of listening to communities and answering tough questions and addressing concerns, but also all across the country. So we look forward to having the opportunity to continue to move this project forward and would appreciate your vote in support of the siting agreement. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Cliff. Before we open the public hearing on this, I'd like to remind everyone to please state your name and your address. You'll have 3 minutes to speak, and we stick to that rule very strictly. Please, I'm sure there are different opinions. Please be respectful for everyone and their opinion. And with all that being said, I would like to open the public hearing on the siting agreement for the Seven Bridges project.
Mr. Chair, we have 20 people currently signed up to speak. The first speaker is Lori Huber.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Lori Huber. My husband, Ralph Huber, and I are here. We live at 14174 Highway 58 in Boyton. We're here this morning to urge the members of the board to approve the Seven Bridges Solar Project. I see that you have it split into two parts. We're in favor of you approving both of them. One of the first things covered in an economics class is the law of supply and demand. And it says, when supply exceeds demand, prices fall. And when demand exceeds supply, prices rise. The price of a gallon of gas right now is down because the price of a barrel of oil is about $60 a barrel. That's very, very low. In fact, when it drops below $60 a barrel, folks who are producing the oil for us to use in our car and other things lose money. So they stop producing. That brings things back up again, and that balance between supply and demand, the cost goes up a little bit, and they get back to creating the gasoline we need for our vehicles. The law of supply and demand applies to everything: food, houses, and electricity. The demand for electricity in Virginia, and in Mecklenburg County in particular, is high and getting higher every day. And that's due to the fact that we have data centers, and we're getting more of them all the time. Remember, when supply exceeds demand, prices fall, and when demand exceeds supply, prices rise. You can make a good decision here today and approve the Seven Bridges Solar Project, a project that will increase the supply of electricity. The project will do this for 30 years or more. The presentation we just heard, it cited 40 years. This project will do it without having mining operations for things like coal, or for pipelines that can leak for things like gas or oil. It will not depend on the constant replenishing of fuels. It will not be subject to the fluctuations in the price of those fuels driven by supply and demand. Don't let demand exceed supply and leave us at best with high prices for electricity, or at worst, literally sitting in the dark. Thank you.
The next speaker who signed up is Durwood Grizzard.
My wife Sandra and I live at the intersection of Scotts Crossroads and Honey Tree Road. We have 210 acres, which have been in the family for 85 years. And our boundary has about a quarter of a mile adjoining the planned solar project. That plan, which I've seen several places, show 150 feet or 50 yards from our property. They said they would improve the situation. However, I've not seen an improved plan until a few minutes ago. They gave me the approved plan, which is 250 feet, which is probably 200 feet less than I would like to see. You have probably seen the solar project off Route 49 on the way to Chase City. This is 1.5 miles from the main stoplight in Chase City. And if you go there, you can see how bad that looks at about 450 feet from the highway. And you can imagine how it would look 150 feet or 50 yards from our property. I had given a report to the Mr. Hendricks, which I won't read now. I think y'all have already, it's been distributed to you. But there has been some discussions about good neighbor agreements. There was one at the last meeting here. Also, articles have been written in the local paper. I would like to state here that my wife and I have received 2 of these agreements. The first one we received probably back in about June, and it was 7 pages long. And on that one, my wife and I were agreed as the neighbor, and the Longwood draft is at the top of the page. And this puts a lot of restraints on us if we sign this, which we did not. And I might say that I have not been contacted by the solar company personally over the phone to discuss this, but it did show up in my mailbox postmarked. And it has a lot of requirements on us not to talk about this, not to complain. The setback of 150 feet was in the agreement, which now they say they changed it to 250. And also it's a secret thing. I'm not supposed to be telling anybody about this. And I'm not bound to that because I didn't sign it. Has a place on here for us to sign. And then on here also, it has a place that we can return this to Seven Bridges Solar, their general counsel in San Francisco. And also on here, the payment to be made to us is 2 payments, one for $2,000 and one for $10,000. The second one we got it fairly right after the last meeting we had here. And it's a little bit strange. It's addressed in pencil to 623 Scotts Crossroads, 23924. There's no name on here to say who it's coming to. It doesn't mention Chase City, Virginia. It's just crudely like this. And
Mr. Grizzard, I'm gonna have to stop you now.
okay, but I will stop. But only thing I will tell you that this went from $12,000 to $100,000 on the money.
Our next signed up speaker is Lisa Davis Bishop.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Come on.
My name is Lisa Davis Bishop, and I live at 1645 Scotts Crossroads. I've lived there all my life, almost. Maybe 3 years I was not there. I would ask that each of you please approach this from my point of view. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Put yourself in my shoes, that you're going to lose your home to this. I ask that you please vote against the solar project on Scotts Crossroads. The reasons I'm opposed are numerous. Solar is not effective or efficient. At most, they are 16% effective, which is dismal. Where would they be disposed of once they're used? No landfill will accept them. Solar projects are paid for by the acre by the government. So we all will pay to further enrich the landowner, Dominion, and Long Road or Seven Bridges, none of whom need more money. This is being done to provide a thin veneer of green to Dominion, Microsoft, and the data centers. Our electric bills will actually go up. Let that sink in. They will actually go up. we will be subject to brownouts, such as the ones that just occurred in Spain and Portugal. Keep in mind, we now have Amish families who have moved in on 47 and Scotch Crossroads who will be run down by the work trucks, not to mention the trash. Please go down Spanish Grove Road if you want to see what it looks like when the solar panel people come to a location near you. It's the biggest mess you've ever seen. It's so sad. There will be no jobs for Mecklenburg County. The workers will come in from somewhere else. They might stay in South Hill temporarily, but Chase City will get nothing but the blight of solar panels that no one wants. No one will go to Graham's Hardware from Longwood for supplies. If solar panels were so great, they'd be having them all over the county, including South Hill and Clarksville, not just Chase City. I'm very disappointed that I even have to come here and talk about this. I thought I had to take off work to be here today. I find it unbelievable that I have to come and beg to stop outside interest from ruining my home. I need you guys to do that for me. All growth is not good. Please stop it. Remember that trees are green. Cutting down trees and replacing them with solar panels is not green. You'll be creating a small city on the Meharon River. Solar panels will channel water, causing erosion and water quality issues. Solar panels cannot disperse water the way a tree can. And I almost forgot, solar panels often spark fires when they malfunction. I get this from a Dominion employee. Catching fire to the grasses under them. Won't that be a mess to clean up for us? Mecklenburg County will get to clean it up. To me, the solar promise is a beautiful lie. It's too good to be true. You want to believe that beautiful lie, but it's not true. The ugly truth is it doesn't work efficiently, and those who profit will care nothing about the people that live on Scotch Crossroads or Chase City or Mecklenburg County. You know, the ones that will have to suffer the consequences if this abomination is allowed to continue. Please save my home on a quiet farm surrounded by peaceful neighbors and other farmers. Mecklenburg County needs farms. We do not need solar panels. I'm afraid they just want their foot in the door and this thing will expand and blow up exponentially. And if you want to conserve land by the Meharon River, you can conserve all of it by rejecting this project. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Before our next speaker, let me remind y'all, please don't have any applause, anything, and regardless, so you dislike what the person is saying or if you totally endorse what they're saying. You know, we're not at a national championship game here. We're here to have a public hearing to let people express themselves. So please keep that in mind, if you would.
The next signed up speaker is Susan Mullen.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Susan Spalding Mullen, and I grew up in Chase City with my parents and both my maternal and paternal grandparents. It was a wonderful place to grow up. But today, when I visit Chase City, I leave sad. Coming through Chase City this morning, I see that Pallet 1 is closing. Chase City used to be the most populous town in the county. But today, it's not the same. Clarksville has the lake and good restaurants. South Hill has the interstate and restaurants. Boynton has the county seat. Chase City does not have any of that. And the first thing I want to say is Chase City needs additional sources of income for a new elementary school, hopefully with solar panels on the roof. Perhaps high teacher pay, perhaps a municipal park, anything to brighten its future. Chase City desperately needs this project. Secondly, I believe in solar power. Solar energy is clean, it's affordable, and it is part of the energy mix we need today. But and sadly, it's so sad that grasshopper poisoned the well in Chase City for solar. But the fact that Long Road is still here after 8 years is because they know they have the right site and have been willing to work with local residents and officials to address any and all concerns. This is a win-win. Chase City needs it. We need the clean power, and we need the revenue for Chase City. In closing, I'd like to leave you with my favorite quote. If God had wanted us to have unlimited free power, he would have put a massive fusion reactor in the sky. I'm close. Thank you.
The next speaker is John Mullen.
Good morning. My name is John Mullen. I'm here on behalf of my family. Susan and I reside in Charlotte County. 8 years ago, we began working with Long Road Energy on the Seven Bridges project. They've been a great partner in addressing concerns raised by the citizens in this portion of Mecklenburg County. Long Road has a contract to purchase 1,250 acres of a 2,750-acre timber tract owned by my family in the Chase City area of Mecklenburg County. One side of the solar project will continue to be managed as a 1,500-acre timber tract, and another side will be bounded by the 250-acre permanent easement along the South Mehuron River. This project is also adjacent to a 600-acre tract owned by Microsoft, which has been rezoned for industrial development. Some of the pre-read material indicated this tract contained, quote, prime farmland. While there may be selected portions that fall into that category, it's been managed as a timber tract for over 100 years because that was the highest and best use for this property rather than farming until the Seven Bridges solar development option came along. I farm corn, soybeans, and winter wheat in Charlotte County, and I can assure you that the vast majority of this tract is not, quote, prime farmland, close quote. Chairman Jennings also farms next to the tract, and I believe he might agree. There are already 2 transmission lines running through the Mullen Family Holdings tract, and we've just signed an agreement with Dominion Power to provide a right-of-way for a 3rd transmission line. As you know, one of the main requirements for a solar project is access to transmission. So experts knowledgeable about solar think that the Seven Bridges site is one of the best, if not the best, solar sites in the entire state. While there's some controversy about this, obviously, from prior speakers, because of the timber that is mature that will form the border, this site actually is probably not visible except by air. And traffic congestion during construction will be mitigated by entrances from both Route 49 and Scotts Cross Road, with Route 49 designated for heavy loads. The Seven Bridges project is clearly the highest and best use for this portion of my family's property, and it's been green-lighted twice by the Planning Commission, including affirmation that our 2232 is grandfathered as part of the 2,500-acre solar set-aside that predates the updated long-range plan for Mecklenburg County. We've been good stewards of this property for the past 33 years, and I firmly believe Long Road will continue that tradition if this project moves forward. Hopefully the board will recognize the significant personal property rights associated with the, quote, highest and best use concept, close quote, particularly given Long Road Energy's efforts to address expressed concerns and the long-term investment this project represents, not just for my family of Chase City, but for Mecklenburg County's business community and its use of electricity. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you.
Next speaker is Joel Cathy.
Good morning. Good morning. My name's Joel Cathy. I live in Keysville, Virginia. I'm a forest landowner in Mecklenburg County. I've been a forester in Southside Virginia for the past 45 years. I'm past president of Virginia Forestry Association. I served 2 terms on the board of directors for the Department of Forestry. I've been fortunate to have managed the land being proposed for this solar farm since the Mullen family purchased this land about 33 years ago. I'm probably as familiar with this piece of property as anybody in this room. Long Road has listened to the concerns and feedback from both the county and the citizens, and has made numerous changes which have made the layout even better. I've looked at the buffers and the management plans for the buffers. This site will be nearly invisible from the public perspective. I agree with Dominion Power that there's no better site in the state of Virginia than this one. The economics of growing pine trees on private land have become more and more difficult. Just last week, Georgia Pacific announced the closure of a plywood plant in Emporia. Over the last 30 years, the prices that landowners receive for pine logs and pulpwood has not kept pace with inflation. The shutdown will only make matters worse, yet property taxes continue to go up. To me, I view this issue as one of personal property rights, the fundamental right to make decisions on what is done with the land that you own, as long as it doesn't interfere with neighbors. The solar farm on this land will affect no one else. To me, Seven Bridges Solar provided a lot of money, will provide a lot of money for Mecklenburg County and town of Chase City. This will help keep property taxes down for all the citizens of the county. It's time to move this project forward. Thank y'all for your time.
Thank you.
Next speaker is Cody, is this Snare?
I'm with Depcom Power. We were awarded the job a couple years ago, so I just wanted to come up here and tell you a little bit about Depcom and just how we work. And I've been in solar 8 years now. Depcom's been around about 15. It started out as a disabled veteran-owned company, and it's moved on to other things now. But at the peak of everything, we'll probably be at about 150 to 175 people out here. Most of the employees, hopefully, will be slotted from the general area. If we get to a point where we need to expand, then it will expand in Virginia. It will not expand outside of that. We do live our lives and our company from a principle-based management. So we take pride in what we do. We are all over the country. We're all over the world, actually. We've built in Puerto Rico, and I'm looking at a job down there now. So we're very, very good at what we do. We do take pride in our work and ensuring that the locals are taken care of to the best of our ability. And I just wanted to come up here and say my piece. I appreciate everybody.
The next speaker is Karen Drozdiak.
Good morning. My name is Karen Drozdiak. I'm with First Solar. We are the largest American solar technology and solar manufacturing company. We are proud to be a supplier of the solar modules for the Seven Bridges project. Solar is very much real. We wouldn't be standing here 26 years later. We were founded back in 1999. More than 65% of new electricity generation installed last year was solar, and that's because it is affordable and it is the fastest electricity generation that can be deployed. Not only is it real, but it can be manufactured here in America. And I'm not just talking about imported from abroad and assembled here. I'm talking about a sheet of glass goes in at one of our factories and a completed solar module comes out about 3 hours later. We're not just manufacturing here, but we've built a domestic American supply chain with soda ash and silica miners supplying the raw materials for the glass that we use in our products. We're creating real long-term jobs all across our value chain, which are supporting our facilities and supporting projects like these. Our Ohio facilities, we have 3 Ohio facilities, which have received the highest recognition from the Ohio EPA, the Encouraging Environmental Excellence Award, Platinum Award. So we are proud to be doing solar the right way. We also have been recycling for 20 years now. So we established the industry's first global recycling program back in 2005, and we've been recycling ever since, recovering the semiconductor material and reusing it in new panels. Our technology is not a new technology. It is a proven one, which has been safely operating in the field for more than 20 years. It has been installed on drinking water facilities in Berlin, Germany, and is a technology of choice for leading utilities and energy providers. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker is Matt Kearns.
Good morning. My name is Matt Kearns. I live at 34 Johnson Road in Falmouth, Maine, but I've spent a lot of time in Mecklenburg County since 2017 when we negotiated the land agreement with Mr. Mullen. I've had the pleasure of working with y'all and have really appreciated the hospitality for investment in this community. I think I'm very proud of what Cliff and his team have done here. I liken the Seven Bridges project kind of like going to the optometrist, and when the doctor says, is this right or is this right? We knew the project wasn't right when we started. We came in with whole cloth. Solar projects are never perfect. And then we started listening. And when we started listening, we realized there was concern about Scotts Crossroad traffic, so we made a change. We realized there were concerns about the Meharon River, so we made a change. We realized there were neighbor concerns, so we shrunk the size of the project 50%. When you go to the optometrist, you hopefully come out with the perfect view and the perfect outcome. These projects are never perfect, but this project is born out of feedback from this community. So we think this is the perfect solar project for this community. It has been shaped by public input from day one. I'll give you two numbers. The first is 8. That's the number of years that we've been working on this project. The second is 10 million, and that's the number of dollars that we've invested in this project with power investment, with long lead time commitments, and we have invested in this county through the relationships that we formed with neighbors, with businesses, who we now count as friends. And I think I just would say this is a project that is about this county now. It is about the fingerprints of local people who have informed what it's going to look like, how it's going to work. And if it's not working, we're going to be here to fix it because we own and operate these projects. So I would just say this is about the perfect moment in time to say, we've been at it for 8 years. Let's approve this project and move forward because it's by, for, and about the people of this county. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Next speaker is Tom Inge.
Good morning. I'm Tom Inge. I'm from McKinney, Virginia, originally from Cambridge, Virginia, just north of Mecklenburg. I am on the board member of Evergreen Team. I'm here with Sharon Flowers, who is also an employee of Evergreen Team, and she's a native of Mecklenburg County. I formed Evergreen Team in 2012 as an environmental nonprofit land trust. Since that time, we have grown to be the largest land trust, private land trust in the state of Virginia. We're very proud of that. We have conserved over 52,000 acres statewide with a focus in Southside Virginia. In Mecklenburg County alone, we have conserved over 2,400 acres in conservation easements, and that's in perpetuity. That's saving farmlands and timberlands. We work with landowners, military bases. We're very close partners with the Ward Burton Wally Foundation. We work with veteran groups, and we have environmental education programs for youth. We have also evaluated renewable energy projects throughout the state of Virginia and Pennsylvania, many, many projects that include both solar and wind turbine projects. Most of those we would say we would not approve and have worked against those because of numerous environmental issues. But after evaluating this Long Road Energy project, we say they are doing it correctly. They are helping the environment through many different ways. Through thorough and thoughtful planning, they are minimizing environmental issues, they're enhancing biodiversity and wildlife corridors, and they're accounting for aesthetics and visual integration. They do this in numerous ways. One, as Cliff had said, they are conserving 250 acres of land between the solar panels and the South Meherrin River. And that's where Evergreen is helping. We're going to help them conserve that in perpetuity. Never to be developed, always there as a buffer, even past this project. That exceeds the state guidelines. We're proud that it protects wildlife and biodiversity through habitat conservation and mitigation. Evergreen team will also use that 250 acres to do recreation with wounded warriors. We do a lot with wounded warriors, from hunting, fishing, and camping. Other ways this helps the environment is that it is reducing chemicals, and it uses sustainable ground cover management. We have reviewed the erosion control measures, and that's done very well. And what we really like about this project is that Long Road Energy is with this project and committed to this project from start to finish. We think this project will contribute well to the local community, and it will be an asset to New Mecklenburg County and the environment. Thank you.
Next speaker is Matt English.
Matt English, 246 Dean Johns Place, Appomattox. Ladies and gentlemen, the board, staff, it's good to see everybody again. I think I visited y'all, I think it was sometime back in the winter. I come here today and tell you that Seven Bridges is probably one of the most proactive professional organizations that I've ever dealt with. I come to you today to tell you that I'm a farmer, like many people you sitting on the board, many people out here in the audience. Anyway, several years ago, I had the opportunity to farm under solar. I didn't know how that was going to go, neither did the solar company. And several years later, I recently got awarded the Climate Smart Award Program Award. That award is given to 1 out of 150 recipients in the nation. And I am one of 150, and I take that proudly as a 7th-generation farmer, and went to receive that award. Still 3 of us farming. We farm in 4 counties. Closest here will be Charlotte County. When I come out of the Charlotte County farm, I look and it's a sign right there, Anyway, and it tells how far it is from Chase City. Man, I like to take a left, come over here and farm. I hope y'all give me the opportunity to do it. Several people spoke in opposition and said they're taking away the farmland. All this land under solar panels will be farmed. I hope with my sheep, maybe some other neighbors. There's a lot of land. It's a good fence, bowstring tight. The livestock don't get out in the highway, stop at school buses, and you'll commute to work. The grass is better than most of our farms because these people got pockets deeper than mine, and they can afford better grass, better fertilizer, and better lime than I can, and many other folks can too. If you want to preserve farmland in the community and help local farmers, and wounded warriors come and hunt and fish, then you do your obligation, what you were voted on to do, and you approve this. Hopefully next time we'll meet up there at the farm and I'll show you some sheep and beautiful grass. Thank y'all.
The next speaker is Brenda Walker.
Good morning. Morning. Hope everyone's having a good day. And I just come as a resident of Mecklenburg County. I've lived here all my life, and I hope each and every one of you will think about this deeply before you make your decisions. This is a big thing for the county, but we want to save the agriculture too. We don't want to waste the lands that we have. God doesn't make more land. This is all we have. And we are here, and we're to preserve it, and we're here to take care of it. And I would like to speak against the solar project, as I did when they tried to get it on 3362 Old Cox Road. It's a mess. You can look at the others. There's not a good result anywhere that I've seen. And I've seen all the trash and all the trashy people that come in to work these projects and all the mud and the dirt that they bring into the businesses in Chase City. And they could care less. So please take this deeply and ask, as we would ask Jesus, what would you do? This is your land. Thank you.
Next speaker is Charles Jackson.
I just brought this with me. I don't have anything written down. Morning, Mr. Chairman and Board. I'm not a great speaker, but I'm just here to oppose the solar project. I've got solar panels on my house. I had them on 6 years ago. I got talked into it by a slick talking guy, and the day that they come and put them in, I couldn't find him. I couldn't find anybody. They did a mess. I regret it, but I got talked into it. I think you need to do a lot more thought and, discussion about these. They might be a good thing, but I'm here to oppose it, and I wish you would think about it real hard before you make your decision on it. Thank you.
The next speaker is Judy Brothers.
Hello, I'm Judy Brothers. I'm president of the Friends of the Meharon River Group. Let me put my eyes on here. The siting for this project is completely inappropriate for a lot of the same reasons as the Antlers Road project was also. The Meharon River is the municipal water supply for Emporia, Virginia. In 2022, I spoke with an employee for the town who stated that the reservoir was already 25% silted out and creating issues for the town water supply at that time. The erosion issues are real, and recently the Foxhound project, which is Long Road Energy in Halifax County, with 53 failed water ponds, hired the erosion company, which cites renewables with a picture of solar panels on their website as one of their selling points as to what they do. And it says there that it's not if, but when problems will arise. So the 1,000-foot buffer is not enough, as the neighbor to Grasshopper had erosion issues and damage to their ponds, and it was many more than 1,000 feet away. And we know that Butcher's Creek has been putting out a plume of silt into the lake some 10 miles away with no fix in sight. And we have drone footage of that, by the way. In 2012, the Scenic River Report lists that the Meharon is a threatened and endangered species water on the westernmost end, which is where this project is, and is rated by the VDGIF that this section contains 2 state and globally significant natural heritage resources that occur at 3 locations along the study segment. The historical significance of this area has been vastly understated. We have Springbank and Ravenscroft Plantation, which used to attach to the Meharon. It's within a mile or so from this site. And there are 5 historical grist mills associated with this area as well. We have Burwell's Mill, Rocky Mill, Reeks Mill, Hepburn Mill, and Mill Grove. Colonel Burwell was a resident at that home. He also was a prominent figure along with Colonel Oliver and Bacon, and with their headquarters were scattered throughout the area too. Those are on a map you can see. Colonel Burwell also built Stoneland, which burned down. This was on the other side of this project, more south. When Stoneland burned down later, all those stones were moved to McCallum-Moore, and that's what they made McCallum-Moore out of, was those stones. So there's it's a lot of history in that area that goes with all this. Something maybe that the county could use for future, visitors to come and see. And again, the siting for this project is totally inappropriate. It endangers the community and its resources with admitted forever chemicals in the solar panels, plus the erosion issue. Please vote no on this project. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next speaker is Monty Hightower.
Well, thank you, ladies and gentlemen of the board. I'm Monty Hightower, 247 Autumn Lane, Chase City. And for those who don't know where Autumn Lane is, it's off of Spanish Grove. I walk in my back door. I'm 400 feet from the Otter Creek Solar Project. As that project was being built and is now being operated, I have had no issues whatsoever, other than a light shining through the window. I went to the contractors, asked them if they could move the light. No problem. 10 minutes after I talked to them, the problem was solved. I know that the Bluestone project and the Grasshopper project were one of the best projects in the world, the way they were built. But the Otter Creek project is living there beside it. I've seen no problem, no problem with the traffic on Spanish Grove, no problem with the site itself. Also, now I've been working with Long Road for probably 8 years. When they first came into the area, they came and talked to me, started talking to me about honeybees. They want to know how many honeybee hives that project would support. And I recommended they were talking about using pollinator habitat. Over 7 years, everything I have mentioned to them to improve the project, like coming out 49, they have worked into their project. So I think they have done their due diligence on this project, and it's probably the best that you're going to be able to find. Also, with the signing agreement, the $500,000 that would come to Chase City would be greatly appreciated and needed, because I've been a business owner in Chase City. We're celebrating our 50th anniversary. So I know how hard it is to keep a business going in Chase City. And if y'all been through Chase City, y'all can see how Main Street is going down. I think this project will bring an influx of business to the town, which would be greatly needed. And thank y'all.
Thank you.
The next speaker is Woody Moore.
Good morning, Board. Mr. Chairman. My name is Woody Moore. I live at 5189 Country Club Drive on the dirt part. I'm against this being okayed, and the reason being is everything that I have seen. I hate to see people deceived, and I hear all this stuff that's being talked about with solar. I used to think it was the best thing coming. I have done a lot of research on solar, and I've done a lot of research on what's happening right here in this county. And I can tell you right now, it was stated earlier, 17, 18%. It's very probable that's all you'll ever see out on one of these sites. And when it says 80 megawatts, whatever that's supposed to mean, I think they made a typo there. There is no way that it will even come close to it. And if you don't believe me, check the grid on what comes out of the ones that's already there. And what's being produced is nowhere near what they claim that they're supposed to produce. Okay, that's one. Two, and I know Monty, I love him, but over on Spanish Grove Road, I'm glad that he had a good experience. But I've been over there and seen and been across a couple of the farms that are affected by the ones that are there. The one project over there doesn't work because it came all to pieces, just like Grasshopper has messed up and doesn't work. Furthermore, the erosion problems over there, and we were road crop farmers. We never got by with that stuff. We had to deal with making sure we covered that erosion situation. Erosion over there, I've been over there when a big storm came through on that man's farm, and the solar farm was behind him more than 1,000 feet, if not more than that. The water was coming out of it, crossing his driveway and into his pond over 3 foot deep with red mud rolling. And we know this is a red mud county. Everywhere it goes, the red clay is going with it. And I don't see any way. They had holding ponds and all this other stuff and told me, oh, that takes care of it. I got pictures where it was running around the holding ponds. And so it was not, I know, oh, we're going to do it better. I would hope that would be the case, but I'm saying it doesn't work. And I'm totally against it in that way. I also have, as many have said about that, I understand it's going in where timberland was, but timberland's green. Even though you cut it and replace it, it's still green. The solar farm is not green. There's nothing green about it. There's chemicals in it that will at some point be an issue to deal with if it don't ever leak out. The other one is nobody has mentioned much about, and I've seen a lot of stuff on this lately, which I hadn't seen and I'd asked questions about, is fires. Now, there are those that have had fires with them, and we talk about what happens, the chemicals that's in it, what happens with the air around the folks that live near it when that chemical gets into smoke or whatever if it does burn. And two, how do our local volunteer fire departments gear up to be able to handle those chemicals or whatever it may be when they go in to deal with it? And I know this from a tank farm near where I pastor a church. They have to have special foam and other things to be able to go in there, and they have to have a way to get in the fence to be able to deal with it because these places get locked down in fences. So it's a lot of issues that are negative in my book, and so I'm against the solar farm.
The next speaker is Melanie Woods. Okay. We have Paul Branner. Okay. And James Jefferson.
Good morning, members of the board. My name is James Jefferson. I reside at 1437 Atlas Road. We're in Boynton. First, I want to say I'm gratified that recently there was an application denied to produce solar farm on that road, which is really right down the road from where I live, and I was kind of happy about that. I've heard a lot of the pros and cons. I heard the numbers back and forth. One thing I do know about life is time really will be the best assessor of whether this is a good deal or not. Again, I heard the numbers. I can't say whether they're good or not. A lot of times numbers are often put, given to get the wheel at what they're attempting to do. But for me, when you get right down to it, at what point or where does it stop at for solar farms here in Mecklenburg County and tying up, the land and real estate with that? Down the road when it's all over and done with, I think I heard some numbers, 25, 30 years, whatever the project life is. What happens then to that property? What happens to the soil, the animals that would have inhabited that area? So for me, I say I'm against it. And, if I don't fight it now, next thing will be in my back door. So I'd rather, attempt to stop it now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, that is the last person that pre-signed up to speak on this topic.
Okay.
Handle that.
So I certainly want to give anybody that wants the opportunity to speak to go ahead and speak.
Brandon Estes, 31257 Highway 49, Chase City, Virginia. Why am I here? There's, unlike it seems like 99% of folks that are, here might have something to gain or maybe lose. I don't gain any money or lose any money with this project or any project. I'm here because I believe that this is wrong, and I have from the beginning. And, you know, there's folks that have connections that stand to make money on things. And we come up here and, you know, it's understandable that we would want to support our interests, right? But I live here. I've lived here most of my life. And I'm trying to find reasons to stay here. I don't want to see my entire county gentrified. I stayed here because I didn't want to go to the big city. I didn't want to be surrounded by corporations. And we don't have to be naive about this. Corporations don't have morals. They don't care. They don't give a rip about any of us in this room. They come here to make money, and the people that they send to talk to y'all, that's what they're here to do. They're here to tell you whatever's necessary to get you to vote for something. They're not here to tell you what might be true. We have 10 different landowners in Louisa County who are litigating against solar farms because of what it's done to their land. We have at least one in our own county who has won a lawsuit over the erosion issues that are supposedly non-existent. So, again, he who speaketh with forked tongue, he always shows his face. They come, they want to do whatever is necessary to get the government money because, like I've told y'all before, it's 1,000% subsidized from federal government money. That is what these companies are here to do. Mecklenburg County is a ripe morsel for the taking, to be picked off the vine and to be squoze dry and for them to then leave as all the other solar. They've told us that they would sell the project after they're done, or others. This is the typical thing that other project starters will then sell it to other solar companies. They don't care. They just need you to be sweetened up enough to pass it, and then they can get their cash and run. And that's all I have to say today. Hope you'll have a blessed day.
Thank you. Anyone else would like to speak concerning the siting agreement? Okay, you come to the podium, state your name.
I signed up on the other sheet. I don't know when I'm supposed to oppose the 7 bridges.
Either one is fine.
Good morning. My name is Deborah DeSantis, and I reside at 885 Scotts Crossroads. I'm here today to vehemently oppose the 7 Bridges solar project. So let's talk about the truth. The main entrance to this project is across the road from my yard. I have spoken with several employees and even invited them into my home on 2 occasions. Hal McCabe has visited me at my home on 3 separate occasions, and he has called me no less than 6 times. The latest call was on March 27, 2025, after the Planning Commission granted them permission to proceed with the project. He called to inform me that VDOT had mandated all 18-wheeler traffic would use the Highway 49 entrance. Prior to that, he called me on October 29, 2024, to inform me of setbacks and modifications they had made to the original plans. On his first visit to my home, I spoke with Hal and another man and respectfully listened to them trying to sell me on the solar project. They in turn listened to my long list of concerns and mentioned a good neighbor agreement without going into much detail. They left and stated that they would be in touch. About a month later, Hal arrived at my home and hand-delivered to me the good neighbor agreement. He handed me the 4-page agreement and told me to call him when I was ready to sign. After reading the agreement, I knew that I would never sign it due to the content and restrictions. This legal document offered $2,000 within 30 days of the developer receiving a signed agreement, as well as an additional $10,000 as long as the neighbor complies with the obligations under the agreement. Neighbor could not oppose construction or development, et cetera, et cetera. Neighbor releases and forever discharges developer together with its affiliates and employees, contractors, et cetera, from and against any and all complaints, claims, liabilities, et cetera, of any nature whatsoever which are based upon, arising from, or relating to the location of the project, construction, development, permitting of the project, including but not limited to noise, dust, and traffic. Both parties agree to keep this agreement and the contents, including the payment, strictly confidential. I called Hal and told him that there was no way that I would ever sign that agreement. He replied that he knew that I would not sign because of my previous concerns, and stated that he would pass along this information to his boss, and stated that between you and me, this is negotiable. I did, in fact, receive a phone call from his boss, but I immediately told him I was opposed to the Seven Bridges solar project and that nothing he could say would make me change my mind. The truth is, Long Road Energy did have a good neighbor agreement. It was not implemented because no one accepted it. The truth is, those that support solar are benefiting financially. And they also do not have a solar project in their front yard or on the road that they live on. Also, the electric companies receive, and this figure may be off, but it's very close, $56,000 per acre of solar in subsidies from the state of Virginia. They, in turn, offer thousands of dollars to nonprofit organizations in your area, to schools, small towns, and offer bribes in the form of good neighbor agreements. They are making these donations with our tax money. And guess what? Our electric bills keep going up. I leave this with you, this final thought. If solar is so great, why is it necessary for them to bribe their way into our communities? Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak on this?
Good morning. My name is Pauline Keaton. I reside at 121 West 3rd Street, Chase City. And I stand before you as a product of Mecklenburg County, a resident of Chase City, and a member of Chase City Town Council. I've seen the community go from thriving to barely existing sometimes. There's sometimes very little traffic in and out of the town. Things have changed a lot from the times that Chase City was the thriving community. But I'm here today to solicit support for endorsement of the solar projects that are here for your vote today. We live in an area with limited, very limited resources, and these resources come mostly from taxpayers' dollars, and these monies can only go so far. By the time we cover maintenance and repair costs, there's very little left for much-needed improvements and modernization. Revenue from outside sources is welcome and needed to help keep things afloat. This project has been supportive of activities in our town and promises to continue to support us in the future. I strongly encourage the board to approve the solar initiative, as this would be a plus for the town and for the county. And as you vote today, please remember that a vote for this project can have positive implications for Mecklenburg County. Thank you for your consideration and for allowing me time to speak.
Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Jeannie Gohagan. I own a home in Chase City. I work for John and Susan Mullen, and I have worked for them for 35 years plus. I've known Susan and John all my life. They are good people. They would not put in something that would harm the area. They have studied this as well as y'all have, as well as Seven Bridges has. They know it's the right thing to do. They also have solar in their home. It is supported by a 180 kilowatt field. It is right behind their house. You see it if you go by their house. It is not bad looking. It enhances the area. There's nothing wrong with it. They support it. I'm just here to say I've seen in Chase City the activity that's created from the other solar farms. Yes, they were not done correctly. There are some problems. The Grasshopper went in on a year where we had 8 floods. So you can imagine any construction site during a period of 8 floods is going to cause problems. Your home construction site can cause the same kind of problems. I've gotten to know the people at Seven Bridges. They're good people. They've been here. They've been working hard to support this project. I, for one, thought, oh my God, Chase City's going to be the hottest town on the planet. I had no clue. I started coming to these meetings and I learned so much. It's not that way. And with the Microsoft coming in and the strain on the power grids, we've got to have alternate uses. We've got to find alternate power. And to me, harnessing the sun is a no-brainer. So please, think about it good and hard. Yes, take your time, make a good informed decision, but believe in solar. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning. I think it's still morning, isn't it? Hey, y'all. Board of Supervisors, glad to be in front of you. I have to say first, I'd like to thank you again for your support of the Mecca Theater in Chase City, my life's mission. Today, though, I'm here to support Seven Bridges and their tireless mission to see their project a reality in Chase City. They have responded positively to every complaint and want to partner with us in bringing solar to our community. Keyword partner. We will need every source we can get for the Microsoft project, traditional, solar, and nuclear. And just remember, if we don't do solar, we're going to need more nuclear. Also, I now have fear that we will finish the theater and have no town left. In recent months, we have lost stores like Rose's, and now another business is closing, as you've heard this morning, Pallet One. I think there are 38 jobs that are going by the wayside, and I frankly don't know what those people are going to do to live. If we have no jobs, where will the folks work? The cost of living is increasing because of Microsoft, and there are fewer jobs by the day. We need partners in the rebuilding of Chase City now. Seven Bridges is reliable, trustworthy, and innovative. Please vote yes today. Bet on Seven Bridges. Please bet on Chase City. I did bring with me 3 pages for you, which are a petition. I did one in Chase City. My cousin, Eleanor Washington, who lives on Scott Cross, did one in her area, showing support. The last thing I want to say is, I know it's difficult being in your position, but remember how difficult it was with the high school, making decisions? But also go back to something bigger, which may have been appropriate balance. Can you imagine how difficult it was to vote the dam into this area? Important things are hard to decide on. I leave this with you. I know that you will vote with your brain and your heart. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Ryan Brankley. I've been a citizen of this county for 40 years, and Chase City specifically. I've seen a lot of change in this county in the last 15 years. I think we all know that there's a power issue in this county with the advancements of Microsoft. I also think we know that this solar project is not the answer to those power issues that we have. I would appreciate your opposition of this. I've watched a lot of people get up here today who are not from this county and who do not reside in this county in support of this. And I would really appreciate y'all taking that in consideration in y'all's vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak on the siting agreement in this public hearing?
Good morning. Dusty Forbes, the town manager at Chase City. This subject is a sticky one, and I know it's going to take a lot of thought and consideration from the board on this. Yes, the gentleman was correct. There are people who are going to receive a financial benefit from the solar project. And yes, Chase City looks to be one of the recipients of that financial benefit. Chase City's operating budget is about $3.9 million a year for everything. South Hill's operating budget this year is $41 million. Clarksville's operating budget is $10 million. And I hesitate to say that the county's operating budget is over $100 million. So when you think that $500,000 won't make an impact on Chase City, you're wrong. It will. And I know that there are people opposed to this, and yes, I hate that we have to look out for external dollars, but Chase City just does not have the funds or the money any other way. We can't tax our way out of it. We can't increase rates because people can't afford to pay the increased rates that we have to charge in Chase City. The infrastructure is 100 years old. I have water leaks every week. I have sewer leaks about once a month. We have to fix those things, and without the funds to do it, we can't operate the town. And if we don't operate the town, it goes away, and then it becomes the county's problem. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Hearing no one, we will close the public hearing. This is election district 7. It is my district. And after conducting a duly advertised public hearing, I would like to make the motion that it is hereby resolved by the Mecklenburg County Board of Supervisors that the siting agreement with Seven Bridges Solar, LLC, for the Seven Bridges Solar Facility, which siting agreement set forth certain conditions proffered by the applicant as part of the negotiation between the county and the applicant pursuant to Virginia Code Section 15.2-2316.8 is rejected in the form this day presented. To my other board members, that means a yes vote rejects the siting agreement. Any discussion from the board? Jenny, hearing no discussion? No roll call. Ms. Blackwell?
I know this has been a rough topic, and I've been all over the map on it, against it, for it, in the middle. When solar was first introduced, as with anything that's made, it was not done correctly. But improvements have been made. And one of my questions that I asked was, can the soil be returned to farming? And I was told no, but, and this is per Virginia Tech, it can be amended again, deep tillage and amendments to return it to production. And my interest with with Seven Bridges is that it was a collaboration between Seven Bridges and Long Road. And they listened to the community and what they wanted, and they responded. And I really commend them for that, because in the future, solar is not going away. And it will be taken out of our hands. How much, I don't know, but we can use the partnership between the community and Longwood as a model for doing it correctly. But the key thing that has that I look at is that property owners have the right to use their property as long as it's legal and it's within the bounds of ordinances. So consider, you have property owners that have leased their land for towers, and receive compensation. Consider you have agricultural landowners who have used their property for their use. And last week, I was just in writing lately, you look at the amount of timber that has been cut. The land is bare. It affects the wildlife, their habitat. It's unsightly. It's, and it'll take, if it's going to, they're going to regrow the timber, it's going to take a while. But still, that was that landowner's right to use his property. And I look at it the same way. The landowners for the proposed site of 7 bridges have the right to use their land. And they have gone out of their way to ensure that it will not be visible to those who travel up and down Scotts Crossroad. And recently I went and looked at another solar site where they are going to hope to develop, and looked at the full-grown trees, rode back into that development, proposed development, and there's no way anyone is going to see it. Whether we want to or not, change is coming. And you can't stop it. Like I said, it's going to be taken out of our hands. To what extent, I don't know. But everyone has the right to use their property if it is not impacting others negatively.
Anyone else?
One thing I think also we need to be mindful of is, I believe, per Emergency Services and the Fire Chiefs Association, that if we have a wildfire break out into a solar facility, the county's policy is to surround it and watch it burn. We don't have it's a solar facility, and it's an electrical compound that produces electricity, and it's not safe for our volunteers to enter such. With that being said, when you have those panels and the chemicals that make up those panels, and you introduce fire into something like that, we don't know what the long-term effects may be. They may be fine in the panel, but when you introduce something like fire, we don't know. That's the general consensus that I think. And fire is a realistic, as we've seen in California, I think they've got a big wake-up call. It can happen just when you think it can.
Okay. Anyone else? I would remind, again, since we've had discussion, that a yes vote is to reject the siting agreement. Jenny, you want to do a roll call?
Mr. Brinkley?
Yes.
Mr. Gravitt?
Yes.
Mr. Spence?
Yes.
Mr. Hargrove?
Yes.
Mr. Wilkinson?
Yes.
Ms. Blackwell?
No.
Ms. Lundy?
Yes.
Mr. Tanner?
No.
Mr. Jennings?
Yes. Okay. Mr. Hendrick, you're up next.
The next item is the special exception permit by Southern Bridges Solar LLC for a special exception permit to construct an 80-megawatt utility scale solar facility up to 435 acres out of 1,249 acres to be located on county tax map number 01300-A-001, partial record number 7779. This property is owned as agriculture, is located on the west side of Route 633, Scotts Cross Road, and is intersection with 681 Honeytree Road in Lexington District 7, Mecklenburg County.
Okay. Cliff, are you going to speak on behalf of this application?
Darren Lawrence, with our team, will the application.
morning, Chairman, Supervisors. Thank you again for your time considering this application. Really appreciate it. My name is Darren Lawrence. I work for Long Road Energy. I'm the Vice President of Environmental. Cliff is in charge of the whole project development. I'm in charge of implementation. So when Cliff says, here's a plan and here's what we're going to do, I get to make sure that we execute everything that we say we're going to do. And this really comes from one of our founders. Since we started this company, his comment was, this is our motto, we make it on our commitments. And my presentation today is really two things. One, I just want to talk about our compliance with the special exception permit. And two, I want to provide some examples and other places we built to give you more confidence that we are not like the other developers. We have a great reputation in this industry. When Cliff and I first came and met in the county back in 2017 with Mr. and Mrs. Mullen and with leaders here, Long Road did not have any projects. We didn't even have any projects in construction. Today, we are the 15th largest renewable energy company in the United States. And I attribute that to our tenacious and resilient commitment to following through with doing what we say we're going to do. That's just who we are. It's how we're branded. It's how we think. It's in our DNA. So when we say we're going to do something and we make these promises, these are promises that we keep. Maybe the place to focus here about the special exception permit application is we started off with a project years ago and we listened to the community and we modified it, and we've gotten to the point where the Planning Commission has recommended approval of this special exception permit. And not only that, the Planning Commission has deemed that we are in substantial accord with the comprehensive plan of Mecklenburg County. And I want to spend just a moment on what that means. We have read the comprehensive plan. We have read the ordinances. We have talked to the people to understand, what did you really mean when you said this is what you have to do to be spaced out farther, or we need a buffer, or we want to make sure that you're maintaining the rural nature of this county? We have digested that and thought about it and turned that into our application to make sure that we are adhering to everything that's so important to you who live here in this county. And so if we are a land of laws and we are in compliance with the laws, the ordinance, the rules, the regulations of this county, then isn't it a right of a person who owns a piece of land in compliance with those laws to be able to go ahead with a plan that they have spent time and millions of dollars developing? Or would you take away that right? For what reason, if there isn't one that ties back to being in compliance with the law? And I think that's a fundamental threshold question about your voting today, is whether you believe that the law guides what we're allowed to do on our private lands or not. That is the question. The second thing I want to bring up is, at the Planning Commission hearing, there was discussion about whether solar was a proven technology or not. And I've done a lot of thinking since then. That was back in March, just to try to think about, well, how do I explain that this isn't just something that, you know, kind of works sometimes or doesn't work sometimes. Mecklenburg County has been exceedingly unlucky with the projects that have been built here so far. You have ended up with Edsels, not Fords and Dodges and Chevys. And I know you know better than I do all the problems that have happened in those other projects. Broadly in the United States, the largest new energy generation is solar energy. 50,000 megawatts. Seven Bridges is 80 megawatts. Imagine how much solar that is. That is the predominant selection for energy that's put on the grid because the sun shines and the panels collect electrons and they put it out to the grid. And it is the cheapest form of electricity you can get. Now, I know there's this talk of subsidization. As far as we're concerned, get rid of it. But if you want to get rid of it for oil and gas and coal too, because they have been getting it since 1921, back when they first got their research and development subsidization and tax credits. And they still get that today, as well as many more. So if you want to do a fair cost accounting, get rid of all subsidization. We are in support of that as a solar industry. We think that that would be the right move to do. and we'd like to see that happen. But given the conditions we have today and the reality that you buy electricity in a competitive market, we have fixed power purchase agreements. If gas goes up, your price goes up. Solar doesn't go up. We have a fixed price for the 30 or 40 years life of the project. It is fixed and it is not going to change. Second point I'd like to make is we're enjoying the air conditioning in this room today. 36% of that energy is coming from another state. Do you want to send hundreds of millions of dollars to other states to build energy over there to then keep the air conditioning on here? Or would you rather invest that money in this county to make it stronger and have the energy that is fueling this air conditioning right here coming from Virginia and even from here, Mecklenburg County? To me, it seems like local sourcing is just so much better than trying to get it from someone else. So Cliff did a really nice job talking about and working with all the changes that we've had in this project. When we started, it was 942 acres. We're half the size of that right now. We have put in screening and buffers. We've got a new access road. We'll have sheep grazing. We're maintaining a special amount of logging and agriculture, forestry around the whole project, hunting and fishing. This project's going to be really diverse, and it's going to have a lot of really unique benefits to it while we're also building a solar plant. And as you mentioned, the Meherrin River, 250 acres put into an in perpetuity conservation easement to protect it forever. And that's because we've listened to the community. We understand your concerns. The Meherrin River is designated scenic, 10 miles downriver. We're adjacent to the South Meherrin River. It's not designated as scenic, but we still think it is a really valuable, protected resource that we want to be really careful about. And that's why we have offered this 250-acre conservation easement. As Cliff mentioned, you will not see the project from the Meherrin River. It is really well screened from the terrain, and because we're set way, way back and on the other side of a transmission line at the top of the hill. So when I mentioned implementation, the key part here is we have a plan to screen it. We developed a forestry plan to make sure that the cutting that might happen in the buffer regenerates young trees that have lower branches that maintain the screening so that for the life of the project, you're not going to be able to see it from any of those public viewpoints. We will be decommissioning the project at the end of life, and we'll be decommissioning, essentially taking all the metal out of the project, and you're going to have a meadow that will have had 30 years to develop an organic horizon and healthy roots and healthy soil, and it can be farmed, it can grow trees, it can be whatever you want it to be. It's just a summary of the many different ways we've thought about how do we add value to this project. Conservation, pollinators, we've got sheep grazing, timber, and we know that in those other projects, other people built those. They didn't use our panels that are true time and test, as you heard from First Solar today. They don't use our trackers. We use the good tried and true tested trackers in our systems. We know that when we have a project that's going to work, and in our entire portfolio of more than 5,000 megawatts, they all work. We don't have any of the project problems that you've seen in this county, very unfortunately. Over at Foxhound, we had the DEP on site many, many times during these many storms that we had that caused a lot of water to come down on a site. Quote from one of their reports, one of the best pollution prevention plans I've seen in construction general permit, unquote. We are also committed to hiring a third-party compliance manager who would report to the county and be able to continue to tell you, here's how it's going, and if you have problems, we will address them. The last point I'll make is we are innovators at Long Road. We solve problems. We solve hard problems. We are a tenacious, resilient company that is here to make and honor promises that we're making to you. And if you don't believe just me, you can go around to our sites around the country. In Maine, we have the largest solar site ever built in the state, and the DEP uses our site to do trainings not only for their staff, but for other developers. At Foxhound Solar, we're the first only Pollinator Smart certified by Virginia project, large-scale solar project in the state of Virginia. And lastly, one of my favorites, the work we've been doing with wildlife in the West has gotten the attention of National Geographic. March of 2025, we are mentioned in National Geographic for the good work that we're doing with solar and wildlife at our sites. So I ask you very respectfully to approve the special exception permit application that we have before you. And again, thank you very much for your time.
Okay, thank you. We will now open the public hearing for the special exception permit.
I have 20 people signed up on this sheet.
Okay.
And there may well be other people in the room who
Okay.
did not sign it up. The first speaker on this is Deborah DeSantis.
Okay, again, my comments are going to be about the same. My name is Deborah DeSantis. I reside at 885 Scotts Crossroads. I just want to talk about, I do realize that they come into my home and Hal McCabe listened to my concerns, and they've made a lot of changes to what their original plan was, and we appreciate that. I do want to state how much that I love a rural way of life, and that is why I remain in Southside Virginia. There's too much uncertainty about the solar in regards to our waterways, well water, soil, and wildlife, not to mention who or how these monstrosities will be maintained and repaired and disposed of in the future. I just want to ask you all, like I said before, everybody that votes to allow these solar farms to come in, every single person that votes for that, yes, is rewarded financially in some way or another. I know that Chase City, the town, needs a lot of money. They're doing the best they can. But at what cost do you sell your soul to these solar companies? We don't know what's going to happen in 10 years from now after it's built. We don't know what's going to happen 20 years from now. I was offered a good neighbor agreement. I flat out turned it down because I was not going to take any money. For me to have to sit there and put up with the construction, the dust, the noise, and whatever would happen in 10 to 20 to 30 years, because you can't come back in 10 years or 20 years after signing this agreement and say, but, you poisoned my well water. But, you've completely obliterated the wildlife in the area or whatever the cause may be. You can't, once you sign it, that's it. You've signed your soul away. You cannot go back and say, well, you didn't tell me, or you didn't know. It doesn't matter. It's finished. You have no recourse at that point. So, like I said, I know Chase City I know Mecklenburg County needs funding. We've got to figure it out in other ways. The majority of us here today, we live here in Southside Virginia because we do not want to live in Northern Virginia, in the Tidewater area. Yet those areas need the electrical grid coming from us. We need to look out for ourselves. Yes, landowners should be able to do, within reason, what they want with their land and their property. But you all sitting here can make a decision to say, no, this is not in the best interest of the county. And I would hope that you would oppose and not let any more solar come into the county. I think we've had enough. We've seen enough. Yeah, they're learning from their mistakes, but there's always going to be more mistakes. The other companies, they promised this and they promised that, and they didn't fulfill those promises. And now the neighbors there are having to deal with these issues. So I thank you all for your consideration.
Thank you.
The next signed up speaker is Pauline Keaton, who I believe has departed. Yeah. And as did Beverly Wood. So the next one we have is Lori Huber.
Thank you for putting up with me a second time. I am disappointed that so many of you felt like you had to vote against this last vote. A couple things strike me. One is emergency services, wildfires, what can come off the panels. We actually do know what the result would be. When EPA defines what a hazardous waste is, one of the tests they do is called a toxicity extraction procedure, TCLP. They're looking at the leachate that comes from something that is either entirely hazardous waste or contains something that would be hazardous waste if it became a waste. These panels are so large, they have so much glass, they have so much other inert material. The very, very, very tiny bit of toxic materials that are in these panels isn't anywhere near enough to cause harm. You say they're very large, there's lots of panels. You'd have to take all of them, not break them in half and burn them, which in fact melts metal and glass and would seal it even more. You'd have to grind it into a powder and drink it for decades before there'd be enough of those toxic materials to harm you. That's just not going to happen. So I'm disappointed hearing people bring that up again and again. Also, stormwater, erosion control. I'm very concerned about that. I've called Mr. Hendrick and complained about how brown the water looked driving in over 58 into Clarksville a year or two back. I'm not supportive of anything that would contribute to this. What creates erosion? Farming, timber removal, data center construction, solar farm construction. All of those things potentially contribute. But we say yes to farmers, we say yes to timber harvesting, we say yes to data centers. Why is it all of a sudden a problem with a solar farm? A solar farm that's under construction for a year or a year and a half, and then it's there to be what? Grazed by lambs, flowers, vegetables grown. That's not cutting down trees, that's not tilling land, that's not building a data center. Everybody's under a lot of pressure here to vote against this. I get it. Some of the stories here have been very heartfelt and are valid and should be listened to. But looking at what's best for everyone and what's wise in terms of what's coming, you talk about wildfires. There's a lot coming in terms of demand for electricity, scarcity of electric sources. People talk about nuclear. My God, what kind of hazard is a potential emergency condition with a nuclear power facility? Please think this through. Please. Thank you.
The next signed name on here is Susan Mullen.
Well, thank you for listening once again. The thing about solar is, people say, I don't want to see it. Every time I pass a solar field, I smile. I think, yes, this is right. This is the right thing. For energy today, we need it. We have got to have solar. You can build this and you got it. You get it quickly. It's cheaper than any other source of power. It is clean. It is what we ought to do. And as I say, I love solar. I'm an environmentalist. I was on the board of the Southern Environmental Law Center for 22 years, and we've done an awful lot of work. And thank God, I sleep much better because I know that they are out protecting air, water, and soil. We need solar. Solar is, it's almost the only answer right now. So I encourage you all, really, you know a lot of this that we've been hearing, the complaints. You know they're not accurate. You know that there's a lot of false information out there. Solar is the way to go. We need it. And y'all already know how I feel about Chase City. So I think Chase City needs it too. And so I would certainly ask all of you all to vote for this project because Chase City needs it, the community needs it, the climate needs it. Thank you.
Next name is John Mullen.
I'll
be very brief because it doesn't sound like it'll do much good to repeat my earlier remarks. I think one thing that supervisors should think about is the Planning Commission has approved this project twice, including after the modified long-range plan was put in place. I was told a year or so ago by one of the supervisors, why would we have a Planning Commission if we don't pay any attention to them? They've obviously done a lot of research on this. I don't know how much time you really had to think this through, but clearly, if the Planning Commission thinks it's okay and has voted for it twice, I would hope you'd keep that in mind. And I do think that the personal property rights issues are very important. I mean, the fact that it is in compliance with everything that's it has to be in compliance with and is approved by the Planning Commission, I hope would hold some weight with this commission. Thank you.
The next speaker is Karen Drosiak.
Thank you very much. I'm Karen Drosiak with First Solar. I'd like to address some of the concerns about the safety of our technology. The beauty about having a proven technology that has been safely operating in the field for more than 2 decades is that it has been extensively studied and tested. Whether it's breakage, whether it's fire, natural disasters, you name it. So let's start with the materials. It has a scary name, but it is very different from elemental cadmium. Much like H2O, water, is different from hydrogen gas. So this matters. This means it is extremely chemically stable and thermally stable. So in the event of a fire, worst case, assuming all the CAD-TEL were to be emitted from the panels, which is highly unlikely, and I'll explain why in a second. Assuming that, worst case is 100,000 times less than routine cadmium emissions from coal and oil power plants. So why is this worst case scenario unlikely? Because cadmium telluride has an extremely high melting point and boiling point, 2,000 degrees Celsius, Fahrenheit. That's well above your typical grass fire temperatures. What happens is the glass melts around and encapsulates the material, 99.96% of it. This is why it is safe in the event of a fire. It is safe in the event of breakage because there are no liquids or vapors that can leak out. And it has been proven for more than 2 decades. And there have been not a single reported instance of concern of environmental contamination in the field over these 2 decades it has been deployed across more than 45 countries around the world. 60,000 megawatts have been deployed. Thank you.
Thank you.
The next speaker is Joel Cathy.
Hello, I'm Joel Cathy again. I appreciate y'all allowing me to speak. I just want to reiterate private property rights. This is a practice. The state of Virginia has mandated to Dominion Power that a certain amount of their electricity is going to come from renewables. So it's a state instigated process. It's a legal process. It's been proved that it's not harmful, and landowners ought to be allowed to make decisions on their own property. I mean, that's what this country was built on. Thank you.
Matt Carnes.
Supervisors. Matt Kearns. I head up development for Long Road. I understand that you're in a difficult spot here, hearing all kinds of theories and ideas about solar. I think what we can say, though, is with the recommendation from the Planning Commission, those are specific standards that this project, after 8 years, multiple changes that were made to accommodate specific concerns, they agreed with the recommendation to move forward with approval. So it wasn't a project that was just kind of jammed into a permit application. This project has been tailored to meet the needs of and with the input of people who live here. I take the supervisor's point about fire issues, and I really appreciate that question. We work in every major market across the United States. We work very closely with fire departments and do coordinated response and education. So that is an area that we would be very quick to coordinate on. I think also just you don't have to make the decision based on guessing or supposition or rumor or internet theory. There are standards that apply. There are standards that the Planning Commission applied. Specific standards, state, local, and federal rules all apply here. We will not be impacting wetlands above a particular point. We are not allowed to. We have these areas are carefully engineered with respect to floodwater and with stormwater. They are better engineered than many, many other land uses that we see. So I think what I would ask is that you make the decision based on the recommendation from the Planning Commission. You can defer to their expertise. You can defer to the federal government in certain cases with respect to navigable waters of the United States. These standards are in place for a reason. And Virginia now has a lot of experience with solar. And a lot of that has been folded back into the Department of Environmental Quality process, the PBR process. And so all those lessons learned are now baked in. So we can be the capstone, we can be the premier solar project and be proud of it because we've been working on it for 8 years with you, with the neighbors, with a variety of folks who have weighed in, have come to us and said, let's make this the best solar project in the Commonwealth. We can do that. And I would ask you to approve the SEP. We can move forward separately on a separate discussion about the Siting Act or the Siting Agreement. But I truly appreciate the opportunity to invest in this county. We have been trying to do it for 8 years. We would love to meet you at the ribbon cutting. So thank you.
Thank you. Tom Inge.
Thank you. I'll just take a quick minute since I already spoke for 3 minutes before. The Evergreen team, again, I'm with the Evergreen team. We believe in conservation. Our motto is keeping the country country. We believe that really the only way that you can really lose the country and the rural culture of your county is through subdivisions. So that's why we are looking at trying to work any way we can to save land in perpetuity. So we always say that any land eventually, whether you're talking about 10 years or 100 years or 1,000 years, will always go towards subdivision because of the 4 Ds, and one of them is divorce, debt, death, and dumbass decisions. So we are always working hard to save land in perpetuity, which this project would do. Also, I heard a number of great points on both sides. I would say that several people that are against it are talking about people that are associated with the project is because of money, and I would say that the Evergreen team, which is an environmental nonprofit, we believe in a triple bottom line, which is people, planet, and economy. You got to have all 3 of those to save the environment. I'm an environmental engineer. I've dealt with contamination my whole life. I've traveled to third world nations, and when you don't have a strong economy, the environment goes downhill. We work extensively with landowners up and down Virginia and Pennsylvania, and in areas where that is hurting economy, the environment looks terrible. Trash, water pollution, surface water contamination. Economy is a good thing. It helps people and it helps the environment. Thank you.
Next speaker is Matt English.
I'm going to
make it brief. Rain's coming. Daylight's getting short, and I know how y'all gonna vote. But, you know, think of all these businesses that y'all have approved here in the last few years. How many is gonna support a farmer? How many is gonna support wounded warriors? Did the data center down here, did they say we're gonna take a couple hundred acres and we're gonna let wounded warriors come in here and hunt and fish? Did some of these other businesses say, hey, we're gonna get as many farmers in the south side area to come together and farm on us? We're not gonna use mowers and bush hogs and chemicals. We're gonna let local farmers come and use our land. And if they need anything, we'll take care of them because we support them. Just keep that in mind. Lastly, I'd like to end with this. Several people on both sides of the aisle, for it or against it, come to me and they said, Matt, they said, how come you ain't farming up here? He said, you know, it's one right up your road. It's one back over here in this community, you know, that's halfway to you. And, well, you know, happy Mother's Day, ladies. Anyway, and Mom always said if it's not something nice to say about somebody, don't say nothing about them at all. And that's all I'm going to say about those other companies. They're just like plumbers, policemen, politicians, you name it. And where it's good ones and it's bad ones. Why do you think I jumped over those sites to try to come on this site? These are the most proactive people I've ever dealt with. And I've gone back to the companies I work with and I've told them some of the things that anyway this company's trying to do. And I'm like, hey, you know, we need to wake up. So that's all I'm going to say. Thank y'all and thank you for the time.
Brenda Walker. Okay. Charles Jackson. Glenn Burney.
Good morning. Good morning. Glenn Burney, 449 Ferry Hill Trail, Clarksville. I'm a member of the Clarksville Ruritan Club. One of our projects that we have is rent and utility bill assistance, which we spend about $30,000 a year on that program. And it benefits the needy people in the Clarksville area only right now. Long Road Energy has pledged to donate $150,000 to our club to be used for electricity bill assistance. And we would take that money and use it over a 10-year period to supplement what we already do. And it would help us be able to expand our electric bill assistance program from the Clarksville area only to residents of the entire county. So just a benefit from Long Road for our county and some of the most needy people. So I ask in conclusion that you take that into account in the final vote.
Monty Hightower.
Ladies and gentlemen of the board. Monty Hightower, 247 Autumn Lane, Chase City. And for some of y'all don't know me, my family has been in Mecklenburg County since at least 1750. It's before Mecklenburg County, it's Lunenburg County. So I'm not somebody who just came here. 90% of the farmers that were here 40 years ago are not here. Now farming is just as much an industry as any other big factory. Monocropping, thousands and thousands of acres of soybeans, which have no value to the pollinators. All the soybeans are wind pollinated. The pollinator habitat that the solar farms could be putting up be used by bees, bugs, insects. The pine trees they're cutting down have very little pollinator value. Well, pollinators are the foundation of our whole ecosystem. In fact, the pollinators, the birds eat the bugs, they feed the baby birds. It just starts and builds up. So they're saying that the solar farms are bad for nature. It's not. I'm a certified Virginia Master Naturalist. I have never heard any complaints through the Master Naturalists against solar farms. And Virginia Master Naturalists are citizen scientists. People say solar doesn't work. Well, if it doesn't work, ask 8 people living on the International Space Station how they live. All that power comes from solar. And for everybody complaining about the solar farms, how would you like it if your neighbor comes in and tells you, I don't like the color of your house, you got to paint your house. I don't like the flowers you planted, you got to cut your flowers down. I don't like that tree you planted. Remember, everything goes in a circle. So if one person can't do something, then why can somebody else not have the same complaint? And thank you.
Next speaker is Woody Moore.
Yeah, greetings to the board, Chairman. Woody Moore, 5189 Country Club Drive, Chase City. You've already heard me say what I said earlier on it. And much of what I have seen and done, the bigger issue is, one more time, and it was just stated again, yes, solar works. How well it works is a different ballgame. And somebody's home, an individual home or things like that, they can put it up and usually get by with it, although I've heard a lot of mess about that it's not working, or people are having problems with the companies that's put it in. But it's my understanding, this is just what I've been told by what's been handed down from the data centers and some others around here, that what's already here wouldn't fuel power for a third of the data centers that's already here, much less what's coming, which that's a whole nother issue. And so what it sounds like to me is, I understand they've done a great job of wanting to come in and set it up environmentally better and all of this stuff that nobody else has been able to do, which is weird. Over and above that, what it sounds like, in order to have the power that's going to be necessary and the power that is claimed that they produce, everybody's land around here will be covered in solar panels. It's not going to happen just a little bit like what we've seen. This is going to expand and expand and expand in order to meet the need of power that is out there. It is not efficient. I'm sorry, it's just not. And again, I've been with the guys up from Buckingham, looked at what the power is producing out of the ones that's up off of Cumberland, line of Cumberland, where you can see on the grid what's coming out of these others that are in Chase City that are working. The percentage is not there. It's not even 50% for people. And most of the time it's even under 20. It just does not compute to me. I don't understand it. I was all for it years ago until I see what it actually produces. It's a different ballgame. At any rate, again, I'm against it, and just take that into consideration. Thank you.
The next sign up is Brandon Estes. Okay. Melanie Woods. Nope. Paul Branner. Nope. Gene Gohagan.
Jeannie Gohagan. Hello again. I'm not going to get into any big discussion, but I do want to mention a statistic I saw the other day. 5 lakes in Virginia, including Bugs Island, Kerr Lake. Kerr Lake is the most polluted from agriculture. Thank you.
That's everyone who's signed up. But I don't know if there's anybody else who might
Okay. Anyone else wishing to speak during this public hearing for this special exception permit? Okay.
Lisa Davis Bishop again, 1645 Scotts Crossroads. I remain against the project. One more point that I wanted, perhaps I didn't come across well with before. I'd like to point out that solar panels shed water like a roof. Think about it. All that water is going to go off of that. It's going to be channeled unnaturally into a place it was not designed to go into. And that will cause erosion. That will leach down into the soil. And it's going to cause issues. Please put yourself in my shoes again. Please save our home from this. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak before we, Cliff?
Thank you, Chairman Jennings, members of the board. I just wanted to come up and say a few words. I mean, I know I've become a familiar face over the years, and the thing that we've been actively doing is addressing tough questions throughout the development of this project. You know, we've addressed tough questions related to the South Meharon River, and we've addressed tough questions related to visibility. And that's something that we've proven to be good at and would look to continue to do here in Mecklenburg County. I've listened closely to all the speakers today, for and against, and you know, we've submitted a substantial amount of information to the county. And while there's been certainly concerns mentioned today, between the various things we've done to address concerns like related to Scotts Crossroads and the questions about good neighbor agreements, we've submitted a signed sworn affidavit clarifying that we're not pursuing good neighbor agreements and haven't since early 2024. Related to the visibility and from public roads, you know, Scotts Crossroads, from every different direction, short of, as Mr. Mullen said, if you're flying in an airplane or a helicopter, then you'd be able to see the project. You've seen simulations. Some of you have been out to the site and seen it firsthand, the drive that you need to take back to the back through the woods to get to the site. Some of you spent time on farm fields next to the site, and we've worked hard to address concerns that have come up in this community, and I believe we've done a great job of that, and I appreciate the time that you've spent listening to me over the months. And I would ask that you take into account in your vote today the 3 pages of signatures in support that were submitted earlier. I would estimate that's probably 50-something signatures in support. Those came from Chase City, Scotts Crossroads, the areas right around the project, and that should be a meaningful consideration in your vote. And so I appreciate your time today, and we'll ask that you take that into consideration with your vote on the Seven Bridges Solar Project. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Hearing no one, seeing no one, I will now close the public hearing on the special exemption permit for Seven Bridges Solar. After conducting the duly advertised public hearing, I make the motion, it is hereby resolved by the Mecklenburg County Board of Supervisors that after considering the staff reports prepared by the zoning administrator and after considering comments made in the public hearing and after considering other matters deemed relevant by the board, the special exemption permit application submitted on September the 10th, 2024 by Seven Bridges Solar, LLC, for the proposed 80-megawatt Seven Bridges Solar Facility is hereby denied for the following reasons, each of which was set forth in the staff report. The site will be utilizing 1,249 acres of prime farmland of statewide importance to develop a 435-acre solar facility. A small portion of the land scores Class 3 or Class 4 on the Virginia Conservation Vision Agricultural Model. The property has moderate, high, very high, and outstanding forest conservation values on the Virginia Conservation Vision Forestry Conservation Values Model. A number of proposed panels on the submitted concept plan are situated in areas designated as very high or outstanding. The property registers as having high ecological scores on the Virginia Natural Landscape Assessment. Portions of the property are on the Virginia Natural Land Network. The applicant provided a construction route that all loaded commercial vehicles would use Highway 49 construction entrance, and other construction traffic would use Highway 633 Scotts Crossroads to include unloaded commercial vehicles. However, the applicant has not provided a total vehicle count that would be utilizing the construction routes. The project is being developed within the proximity of South Mahern River, which flows into the Mahern River. These waterways could be affected if any contamination were to leave the site. Additionally, the Mahern River has been designated by the Virginia General Assembly as the State Scenic River, Section 10.1-418.3 of the Code of Virginia. As the Virginia Department of Conservation and Natural Resources noted, a good portion of this land is timberland and has ample forest buffers, which provide a sense of isolation and remoteness. And the Mahern River corridor contains few signs of housing or industrial development. Several houses and cabins may be seen along the route, but they are few and far between and often veiled by foliage. The siting of these structures well away from flood zones, high on the banks and behind vegetative buffers does not significantly compromise the sense of isolation on the water or the aesthetic quality of the corridor. An industrial development would be contrary to these statements. A yes vote for this motion would be to deny the special exemption permit. Any discussion from board members?
Only thing I would say, Mr. Jennings, without the signs or approved citing agreement, it would be fiscally irresponsible to approve this.
I agree. Jenny, you want to make a roll call vote?
Mr. Brinkley?
Yes.
Mr. Gravitt?
Yes.
Mr. Spence?
Yes.
Mr. Hargrove?
Yes.
Mr. Wilkinson?
Yes.
Ms. Blackwell?
No.
Mrs. Lundy,
Yes.
Mr. Tanner?
Yes.
Mr. Jennings?
Yes. Okay. I will welcome everybody to stay for our rest of our meeting. Anybody that wishes to leave, I'll give you a couple of minutes to go.
Break. Ms. Lundy said she needs a break.
Y'all want to take a 5 minute break?
Ms. Lundy said she'd take a 5
Russell,
minute
what
break.
if, Russell? Hey, Russell.
I'm gonna try to get in front of that.
We're going to take a 5 minute break.
Wish you would. Yeah.
Where we going? Kevin, I think you up next. We didn't got to the easy part here now.
Kevin said next time move him to the front. Mr. Wilson.
Excuse me, Sterling. You go right here. Yeah, Robert, you had one. Robert has one more item
Yeah.
to update you on.
I have one update for the board. The planning commission held a comp plan review for Analyst Road, which is RWE on that 2232. The planning commission denied the application. So on May 5th, they filed an appeal to the Board of Supervisors. So you all would need to make a decision on when y'all want to hold the hearing date, public hearing. I think they have to do it within 60 days.
Yeah.
July?
Yeah, you can do it in June or July. Either one.
Is it 60 days from their appeal?
Yes.
In
Yes.
which case
Be
we
June.
can't do July.
Oh, the date's too late?
Yeah, we meet on the second Monday.
Okay.
60 days would be
I
July
stand
5th.
corrected that June is.
So we can't do it in July. All right. Put it
It'll
in
be in
June.
June? Okay.
That's on this night meeting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Been turned down one time. So.
That's all I have.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, Kevin.
You said July meeting?
June. Can't do it in July. Best to see.
Okay.
Do I need to go first? I do.
Yeah, the first thing on it would be Kirk's report from this morning.
All right, Kirk.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The Secondary Roads Committee met on Monday, May 12th, 2025 at 8 a.m. in the Board of Supervisors meeting room, Boyd, Virginia. Members present, Kirk Rabbit, Chairman, Sterling Wilson, David Brinkley, Andy Harper. Others present, Jim Jennings, Dennis Spence, Tom Tanner, Alex Gottschalk, County Administrator, Judy Sheffield, Assistant County Administrator, Jenny Whittemore, Clerk, Kevin Smith, VDOT Assistant Resident Engineer. Chairman Gravitt called the meeting to order. Mr. Gottschalk stated that the last Board of Supervisors meeting held on April 14th, the board voted unanimously to advertise a public hearing to consider adding Finney Wood Road, Hilltop Road, LeGrand Road, Wheatland Road, and Turkey Road to the 6-year plan. The public hearing was open. Greenwood Road residents J.A. Jordan, Matt Clark, Carolyn Evans, Hobart Overton, and Margaret Smith addressed the committee asking for Greenwood Road to be placed on the 6-year plan. They explained that the road count was redone in 2023 and that the board was not notified by VDOT that their count went from 40 to 70 due to new growth and development. The residents complained about dust erosion and board wash. The public hearing was closed. The committee discussed adding a revenue sharing project for 2029 to the advertised 6-year plan. Upon motion of Mr. Hargrove, the committee voted unanimously to add Greenwood Road to the VDOT FY 2026 through 2031 6-year plan that was previously advertised as a revenue sharing project. And Mr. Chairman, I believe we may need to stop here and have a public hearing about amending.
Okay. So I will declare the public hearing open for the 6-year plan. Anyone wishing to speak? Sheriff?
Everybody else left.
It's your chance. I just scanning the crowd. I don't see any dirt road complaints here, but okay. Hearing no one, we'll close the public hearing. And
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Upon a motion of Mr. Hargrove, the committee voted unanimously to recommend approval of the FY 2026 through 2031 VDOT 6-year plan as follows. Lone Oak Road 2026, Lambert Road 2026, Bowers Road 2027, Wilson Newton Road 2027, Twin Cedar Road 2028, Henrico Road 2028, Lux Circle 2029, Dixie Bridge 2029, Hilltop Road 2029, Greenwood Road 2029, LeGrand Road 2031, Wheatland Road 2031, Turkey Road 2031. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to put that in the form of a motion.
okay. Motion being made to approve the 6-year plan. Any more discussion? All in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries.
There being no further business, the meeting was adjourned.
Okay. All right, Kevin.
All right, to be brief, our monthly report, you got
Please.
got it in the package. A couple things I want to hit on. We are safety mowing intersections right now. Primary mowing is scheduled to start this week. Of course, weather permitting. They're calling for some rain. And then the only thing we've got coming up, Route 733, MT Hayes Road. We're planning on closing that this week for a pipe replacement. Detour be in place. Weather permitting, we'll get it done by the end of the week. That's all.
Okay. Is that all you have?
Yes.
All right. Nobody has anything? I'm going to move right along to the property committee. You done yet?
I'll do my best. 2 pages.
Brief. I'm terrible.
I wish it was. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. A meeting of the Property Committee was held for the County of Mecklenburg on April 14th, 2025 at 1 p.m. in the Board of Supervisors meeting room of the Good Bank Building. I call the meeting to order. I do a roll call. Myself is here. Claudia Lundy. David Franklin.
Yeah.
No,
you're just reading the minutes.
Okay.
They were here at that meeting.
Yeah. This was that.
I say Andy Hargrove, Dennis Spence, also present. Jim Jennings, Tom Tanner, Russell Stewart, Alex Gatchell, Brent Evans, Brian Dalton, Scott Warner, Judy Sheffield, and Jenny Wood.
He was calling the door.
Closed session. C1, Jefferson Street property. C2, Highway 92 property. C3, La Crosse Elementary School site selection. Upon a motion of Andy Hargrove, the board voted unanimously to convene closed session pursuant to section 2.2-3711-A.3 of the Code of Virginia. Discussion or consideration of the acquisition of real property for a public purpose or the disposition of publicly held real property, where discussion in an open meeting would adversely affect the bargaining position or negotiating strategy of the public body. Sterling Wilkerson, Claudia Lundy, David Brinkley, Andy Hargrove, Dennis Spence voted aye. D, open session. Upon a motion of Andy Hargrove, the board voted unanimously to reconvene in open session. Sterling Wilkinson, Claudia Lundy, David Brinkley, Andy Hargrove, Dennis Spence voted aye. D1 is the certification resolution. Upon a motion of Sterling Wilkinson, the board voted unanimously to adopt the following certification resolution. Sterling Wilkinson, Claudia Lundy, David Brinkley, Andy Hargrove, Dennis Spence voted aye. Okay, certification of closed session. Whereas the Mecklenburg County Board of Supervisors convened a closed session on this date pursuant to an affirmative recorded vote in accordance with the provision of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act. And whereas Section 2.2-3711 of the Code of Virginia requires a certification by the Mecklenburg County Board of Supervisors that such closed session was conducted in conformity with Virginia law. Now, therefore be resolved that the Mecklenburg County Board of Supervisors hereby certifies that to the best of each member's knowledge, only public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements by Virginia law were discussed in the closed session to which the certification resolution applies, and only such public business matters as were identified in the motion convening the closed session were heard, discussed, or considered by the Mecklenburg County Board of Supervisors. C1, the Jefferson Street property. Upon a motion of Andy Hargrove, the board voted unanimously to authorize advertisement of a public hearing to be held on May 12, 2025 on the proposed conveyance to David Crowder, approximately 150.5 square feet of real property known as the county public parking lot located on Jefferson Street, Fordham, Virginia 23917, and identified on the Mecklenburg County tax map as TMP 110A07-A-065, parcel record number 19916. Sterling Wilkinson, Claudia Lundy, David Brinkley, Andy Hargrove, Dennis Spence voted aye. And I'll pause here. We need to have a public hearing.
Okay. We'll now open the public hearing for the conveyance of real property to David Crowder. Anyone wishing to speak? Hearing no one, we will close the public hearing. What are the wishes?
I'd like to make this in a form of a motion to approve this advertisement.
Motion's been made. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the motion carries.
That's all I had, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Budget and Finance, Mr. Hargrove. An important part of the meeting.
Which nobody did.
Meeting of the Budget and Finance Committee was held in and for the County of Mecklenburg on April the 30th at 6 p.m. in the Board of Supervisors meeting room at the school bank building. The roll call was myself, Chairman, David Brankley, Sterling Wilkinson, Tom Tanner, Brenda Blackwell, also Jim Jennings, Kurt Gravitt, Marshall Siemens, Brent Evans, Justin Birch, Judy Sheffield, and Jenny Whitmore. Mrs. Michelle Gordon, Clerk of the Circuit Court, is requesting that her current budget to be amended based on the TTF money received from the State Compensation Board in the amount of $45,963. These funds will help pay to digitalize additional records, redact records and yearly maintenance, and current SRA and SCV records. Part will be used on new equipment for plat scanning. Please appropriate $45,963 from the funding to line item 021700-3500 records digitalizations. Upon the motion, well, let me stop here and make this. Upon the motion, Mr. Tanner, the board voted unanimously to recommend approval of the supplemental appropriation in the amount of $45,963 to the Circuit Court Clerk budget line item records digitalizations. Myself, David Brankley, Sterling Wilkinson, Tom Towner, Brenda Blackwood vote aye. I would like to put this in the form of a motion that we render unto the State Compensation Board in the amount of $45,963.
Okay, everyone's heard the motion. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Mr. Gottschalk reviewed the budget amendments previously sent to the committee. Upon motion of David Brankley, the board voted unanimously to approve the proposed budget amendments as presented. Myself, David Brankley, Sterling Wilkinson, Tom Tanner, Brenda Blackwood voted aye. Upon the motion of Sterling Wilkinson, the board voted unanimously to receive approval of the recommended FY 2025-26 budget to the full board. Myself, David Brankley, Sterling Wilkinson, Tom Tanner, Brenda Blackwood voted aye. I would also like to put this into a form of a motion to receive these voted for budget amendment and also for the approval of the amendment for 25 and 26 budget.
Okay. Everyone's heard the motion. Any discussion?
They were just placed into the proposed budget, so
Yeah,
aren't they included
yeah,
in-
the amendments are good to go. Yeah, we need to adopt the tax ordinance, the budget ordinance.
But we need roll call for those. We don't need it for that, what he just made the motion, do we?
What I made a motion for
That
to
is
do.
doing that.
I'm sorry, say that.
What you read brings those ordinances in front of this body
But good,
to
that's-
vote
right,
upon.
right, that's what-
So
okay.
there is no motions. that we
If
need to-
we can just vote on
Yeah,
that.
adopt it.
And then everything else has got to have a roll call. Am I correct on that?
No, you don't have to vote on anything that he just did. Voting on the ordinances does
all of the above.
those
Does all the
items.
above?
Yeah.
Okay.
But good.
So we need a roll call on that too? Okay. All right, Jenny.
All right, so we'll do the tax ordinance first.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Mr. Brinkley?
Yes.
Mr. Gravitt?
Yes.
Mr. Spence?
Yes.
Mr. Hargrove?
Yes.
Mr. Wilkinson?
Yes.
Ms. Blackwell?
Yes.
Ms. Lundy.
Yes.
Mr. Tanner?
Yes.
Mr. Jennings?
Yes.
Okay. The next one we will do for the budget ordinance. Budget ordinance, please.
Okay. Mr. Brinkley?
Yes.
Mr. Gravitt?
Yes.
Mr. Spence?
Yes.
Mr. Hargrove?
Yes.
Mr. Wilkinson?
Yep.
Ms. Blackwell?
Yes.
Mrs. Lundy.
Yes.
Mr. Tanner?
Yes.
Mr. Jennings?
Yes.
And then our capital improvement.
Mr. Brinkley?
Yes.
Mr. Gravitt?
Yes.
Mr. Spence?
Yes.
Mr. Hargrove?
Yes.
Mr. Wilkinson?
Yes.
Ms. Blackwell?
Yes.
Mrs. Lundy.
Yes.
Mr. Tanner?
Yes.
Mr. Jennings?
Yes.
The next one is Chase Hill Elementary GMP pursuant to 56-575-16.5 of the Code of Virginia. The Mecklenburg County Board of Supervisors hereby authorizes the Mecklenburg County School Board to enter into a comprehensive agreement to set in 56-575.9 of the Code of Virginia with Blair Construction for the rehabilitation and expansion of Chase Hill Elementary School at a construction guaranteed maximum price of $34,752,876. Motion.
All
I
right.
would like to put this as a motion to receive that school board receive the Blair Construction rehabilitation of the school for $34 million of the said price.
Okay, everyone's heard the motion. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? The motion carries.
That'd be awesome.
Is that all? Okay. All right. Public comment, I assume we have none?
I think we gone through all of that.
Twice.
Yeah.
But, well,
They got tired of talking to the left.
we're not going to let them talk. I'm playing. Okay. Alex?
We just have your staff
Staff reports.
reports in here. The only thing I'd highlight is we received the transformer system that's necessary to power our expansion of this building here, so hopefully that work will progress smoothly. We were waiting on that part.
Okay. So that's it for you? All right. Chairman's report. We've got an appointment on the library board. So we've got one that's eligible for reappointment. Mr. Christy Russell was appointed to serve the unexpired term of Ms. Voorhees. Well, I'm not sure how you say her name, but anyway, she's eligible for reappointment. Anybody like to make a motion for that?
So move, Mr. Chairman.
All right. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. And then we've got a resignation with 2 years left on the term of Amanda Bowen resigned, and she's got 2 years left on that term, so we've got to appoint somebody for that. And we've got Mr. Marcus Broadwater. I don't know him. I guess I see the bio in there. Anybody have any comment on that at all?
So what are you saying? I thought we just put one person in, Miss Christy Russell.
The one's resigning.
Well, one's resigning too.
Miss Bowman, who's resigning. But where are you now? At Southside Planning? Or you have
No,
to
no,
have
no.
another one for library?
I got another one for library.
Oh, okay.
Do we know anything about this? I don't know anything about anybody on here.
Lost it.
Tom, you know anything?
I do not know.
I do not.
All right, but I
See, you have a resume? Bio,
Yeah, it's
something?
right there.
Yeah, it's on there. It's in there.
I'm hitting him, it's not coming up.
The school at Avery.
Nothing coming up.
I mean, you got somebody willing to serve and they're qualified, let them go. It's kind of the way I feel about it.
Boyd and Branch is, recommended him. He's a patron of this
I don't know, he
branch.
went to Avery.
And they have changed their bylaws so that they need at least, each branch does need at least like one patron, so this guy would meet those requirements.
Okay. Anybody like to make a motion to appoint this man? Okay. Motion been made. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right. All right. Plan. Let me get to this one, next one here.
Is he a native of Mecklenburg? You don't know.
Say something. Hey, I think he went to school by then.
I'm just asking a question. You all still making motions?
All right, we got appointment to Southside Behavioral Health Board, and Mandy Calhoun, I think, is the one we've got to buy on, who I think would probably be a very good candidate.
Absolutely.
Anybody like to make that motion?
So moved.
What they replacing?
Ms. Tanner made it first, I think.
Okay, she's good.
Got you by a nose.
Outside behavior?
Yes, ma'am.
Who was on?
It's been so long that
It's been vacant.
I can't even remember.
Oh, okay, okay.
All right, all in favor of the motion for Ms. Calhoun, say aye.
Aye.
The motion carries. All right, let me get to the next one.
That's one the Essence Service.
See, we got.
Oh, Brenda.
All right, what is this on the Southside Planning District right here? What? I don't have anything on that. Let me look at the cover page.
Mr. Chair, Mr. Simmons' term expires in
Okay.
June.
Okay, I got it now. Oh, his term expires
Yeah.
in June of 25, so we need somebody else on that, right?
He's eligible.
He's eligible for reappointment.
Okay.
And he's the citizen at large member of that board. So.
Yeah. That's what Clark, so you want to make that motion? Brad?
So move, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
The motion carries. Entertain a motion to approve the consent calendar.
So move, Mr. Chairman.
All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
The motion carries. Okay. Board Member Malice. Mr. Spence, you want to go?
I can. I just had a couple of thank yous, recognize a couple of different organizations. I attended the Mecklenburg Fire Chief's invite. With a great meeting, great dinner, very informative. It gave us a lot of insight, I think, on where the cost of equipment and whatnot has gone to, which I thought was very important as we move forward, considering different pieces of equipment, like we've already had to consider ambulances and things of that nature. We really do need to understand what the cost of things are today and how they continue to increase. And I thought that was a very good presentation that the fire chiefs made, and I greatly appreciate the invite, greatly appreciate them putting on that presentation. I call it that because they had the equipment laid out, and much of the equipment had price tags attached to it, so you could see exactly what that individual piece of equipment costs. So greatly appreciate them doing that, and I would encourage them to do that for the public. I think it would be very informative for the public. I also want to thank the Mecklenburg County School Board. Same thing, we had a meeting and a dinner with them. Had a chance to visit the Clarksville Elementary School. Again, very informative. They did a great job of hosting us and showing us around and explaining things, and looking forward to seeing that school up and operating. Nice facility. That's all.
Okay, Ms. London?
Ditto plus. The play at the high school was last Friday night evening, and Saturday at 2. The play, Charlie Brown is a good person, and it was excellent. They did an excellent job. I mean, a very excellent job.
Okay.
You should have seen it. Okay. Thank you.
Ms. Dunn?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First, I wanted to thank this board and our employees for everybody's thoughts and prayers when my mother passed away a few weeks ago. It was greatly appreciated. As far as the budget goes, thank you to Alex and Judy and all of the staff for all of their hard work on that. I know it's been a multi-month process, but I think it's definitely going to show our commitment to all our employees that, you know, we're standing with them. And on the school board side, thank y'all for the invite. Clarksville Elementary is a very beautiful building, looks very nice. And again, the fire department put on a really nice educational thing the other day. One of the things, I went to a couple HOA meetings around the lake because, of course, that's where the new convenience center is being built. And one of the questions that I got asked there was, what about small amounts of construction material? And I think from the landfill committee side, I think it's something that we may need to look at because, you know, some of them had the questions of, okay, if I turn my toilet out, can I take my toilet down, or do I have to take it to board, and, you know, stuff like that. And I think Judy and I talked about it the other night too. I think Alex and them had talked about this summer having an intern work on like a county newsletter type of thing for the year, and possibly if we mail that out, maybe putting some more information in there about the convenience centers and stuff like that, and times, what we can take there, what we can't, and just stuff like that. The other thing, as far as the solar project that we dealt with today, I would say I think one thing we heard out of it was Chase City's need for some type of support. And I think in speaking with Mr. Gottschalk that the 3 projects that we currently have, we get funding from them. I don't remember the amount off the top of my head, but I do think that Chase City, from everything we've heard and everything else, these solar farms kind of surround Chase City. I think if we do have a means from the projects that are currently in production, that we could take the 3 representatives that are from Chase City and have y'all talk to Alex, see what the amount is, maybe come back to the board and say, hey, we would like to use that money to try to help Chase City. I just think Chase City needs something. I mean, I know from, like they said, riding through there are a lot of storefronts and stuff like that, and every town is facing aging infrastructure and everything else. But I think if, since I don't think we're going to move forward with any more projects, we're going to stay where we're at. I think it would be a good use of that money to at least benefit those citizens in that area for what we have approved anyway. And that's all I got, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you. Ms. Mike? Well, feeding off of what Tom said, can you come up with that amount of money that we get per year off of those 3 projects?
Yes, we do have the revenues that we get from those projects. They are not significant. I mean, they're more than a homeowner, of course, but they are not large because we did not have the siting agreements in place at the time, so we have no upfront capital payments from them, nor were we allowed to impose the revenue sharing amount on it, the $1,400 per megawatt that is now allowed by law. So we pretty much only get the real estate revenue off of it. We don't even get machinery and tools tax rate because of the magnitude of the projects. The Code of Virginia has a special provision in there that if you're over a certain amount of megawatts, you're taxed at the real estate rate and not the machinery and tools rate. So we get that 36 cents per hundred on the improvements on the land as well, but it's only the real estate tax rate. So there is a revenue that comes in from it. It's part of our overall revenue picture, and we could certainly designate those funds to support other activities, but it's not going to be significantly life-altering for economic changes in that community.
Now, do they get any of the money from the 92 project of Microsoft is right there? Will they don't get it?
No, Chase City is a partner. Well, the Chase City IDA is a partner as well as the Clarksville EDA in the Lakeside Commerce Park development next to Okanichi. And so they will get a share of the proceeds from that development. So there is a dedicated revenue source related to data center development that will funnel back into Chase City. That site is not currently at the point of having active building right now, but at some point in the near future it will, and they will start generating some direct revenue based on that. But the ones that are immediately in the vicinity of Chase City, no, those were not in the town limits. They were in the county, and there was no partnership that was provided by the town towards its development. Now, they are given the water and the, well, not the water, the wastewater services, and they will get some plant upgrades accordingly. So there is a net benefit to the town aside from being just a customer as a result of that particular development being located where it is situated.
So when they get built and all, is it possible we could look at what that one facility, will they break it down where that we could see what that one facility is generating money-wise, and maybe look at sharing that with them in a certain amount or something?
That's a possibility. There's also the possibility that you could retain that revenue and direct it on your own accord for projects that you deem to be beneficial in that area rather than passing it through to another party.
Right. Because, you know, the mud, everything, the thing, Chase City is dealing with that, not so much the county and everything and all. So good you brought that up. And I'm sorry I missed that Clarksville Elementary meal and tour. I hope we will have another one. I'll come if you don't have a meal, but if you do have another one, I'll come to that too. And do that. And yeah, the fire department, what they did in here at board, and that was great, real eye opening. And again, I think the public needs to see some of that and all too, and do that. Well, we of course we did the 7 bridges today. Analysts is coming back again. We'll have to hear that. Where are we at with like the Finneywood? Have they provided anything or going forward? Because I know we talked about they got a certain amount of days or something to do something. Have we heard anything from them?
We have heard from them. They did previously agree to extend the period of time in which we have to hear and make a decision on their project. They have not submitted a revised siting agreement, and they have not given us an indication that they wish for their hearing to be scheduled at this point in time.
So how much longer do we wait? Because I think we got some things in place of moving the cap down. You know,
we voted on that.
Yeah. So how long do we wait for them to
in
come
September
forward?
of 24?
Mm-hmm.
I made that motion to vote to cap it at where it's at.
Yeah.
Once these go through.
Yeah, so the period of time in which they have agreed to is in the late summer. So we will have to, they will either have to indicate to us affirmatively that they wish to have that hearing, or else that period of time is going to elapse.
Okay. So in September.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So by September, there will be one way or the other.
Okay.
That's all I got. I'm sorry, Mr. Hargrove got overlooked again on his road, but I mean, we want to kind of keep that going. It's a lot of fun.
I guess he's just trying to preserve the rule integrity of your
You're on the 60-year road plan, not the
60. But you know, there's a silver lining in everything. Mr. Wilkerson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I don't have a lot. Just glad to see, about the budget. Thank y'all for all y'all's work and all. It's, one of this size that we're all in agreement on most things says a lot about our board and our county. We've got sort of the same vision going forward, and that's a good thing. It could certainly be another way, so we should all be thankful for that. And I'm glad to see we can step up, helping out and paving some of these roads. The 60-year plan, as you just said, it seems like it just takes forever. And for us to have the ability to expedite all this, people need to recognize that. That's a part of some of the growing pains with the industry in this county, but that would not happen. That was just a small example. Or an investment in all our employees, which is a good investment, but I'm just saying people really need to recognize that. Going back to Chase City, I think we should, I don't know the correct route, but we should try to help in any way we can. It all seems like they're all basically due to infrastructure. That's where they're all focused, and I understand that, but, we really need to do what we can to support them. And I hope that people in that area don't take it personally, the votes that we did today for the solar. We're not trying to hurt them, not support them in any way. It's not about that at all. I personally feel like it get voted down for other reasons, but I just hope that residents will realize that. So that's all I have.
Ms. Black?
The tour of Clarksville Elementary is very nice. The building and the campus. Fire department, the meal was delicious. And display of equipment shows exactly what is needed and what improvements have been made. Thank you to Alex and Judy for your work on the budget, and a great big thank you for Alex for his leadership. The investment in you was well worth it.
Yeah.
Same. Everything everybody said is spot on. I couldn't agree more. And I just wanted to also go ahead and apologize for not being able to come to the elementary school. I was trying to get off work as much as I could, but the boss wouldn't let me off. So said I might get fired, so I didn't want to get fired from my job. But like I say, I ride by it often, and I know they're making wonderful progress. The facility from the outside looks beautiful from my perspective. But other than that, everybody be safe. See you next month.
Right. I'm the only thing standing between us and lunch, so I promise you I'll be brief.
You're not going to let Ms. Hargrove speak?
Oh, yeah, I forgot about you better go overlook him.
He overlooked you.
I started like this right here, and I forget I skip over him.
Right hand man.
Getting overlooked one way.
I'm sorry.
I had the right name.
Beg forgiveness.
He's been writing over there for 30 minutes. You know.
Take my time up, too.
I had the right name, overlooked.
I'm telling you, when I get in a hurry, man, I'm in a hurry.
He's thinking about his food.
I want to get things done.
It's raining. Don't worry about it.
You know, I really was appreciative of it at a funeral one day, and someone walked up to me and said, "Well, we're interested in some property in Palm Springs," and I didn't want to worry him and chase him off, so I called him a couple of times, and so he got my phone number, and he's supposed to call me back to put a convenience center over there, and I haven't heard from him since Saturday. And I'm trying not to dial his number, but I'm you know, kind of fidgety. So I do want to try to, for Wayne and us to go over and take a look at it so that we can try to acquire it while he has the intention. For the budget, thank you, Alex and Ms. Judy and so forth for doing the budget, and whoever else is affiliated and associated with that. I do appreciate that. Mr. Bailey came and sat last Saturday and did a CPR class for us from the EMS. Ms. Deb had set him up, and Mr. Justin was also aware of that, and I think that's his name, Mr. Bailey. Is that correct? Okay, and so he did a CPR class, and it was a wonderful thing that he taught. Now, I would advise if you need a CPR class taught, to get with Mr. Justin or Ms. Debbie to have one set up. They are very informative, and it's something that I believe every organization needs to be aware of, because you never know when you're going to need that time for it to excel your experience or EMS. And also, that's another concern is that I think the reason why that we do what we do here as far as solar is because of their lack of trust from the public. The public right now, they say this, they say that, and everybody makes promises until the actuality come in, and then that's when the promises are really being revealed. And thus far, the last three entities has not revealed the positivity that they proclaim. And so someone that come in wholeheartedly is trying. The public don't trust right now because they've been bit 3 times. So you can't tell me that the dog gonna bite and they bit 3 times. And this is where I think where we stand at right now. And it's harmful for Chase City. Do need something to help them. And that was one of the reasons why I believe the first time we approved it, because they said this is going to happen. And it affected some, but it didn't do a whole lot of change because nothing lasts over a period of time. And also, the elementary school is a wonderful school. We thank you for having us there. And the real reason why you had dinner there, because you were hoping Mr. Branker would come, and he did. So the next time, just invite us to school, because he's either going to come or he's not. Thank you, Mr.
Very good. I completely agree with everything everybody else has said. Thank y'all on working on the budget. You always do a wonderful job, do a great job, and the detail in it is superb. I would like to follow up what Tom said about Chase City. I think something needs to be done. Ms. Blackwell, I know you have the lion's share of the district there, but I think Mr. Brinkley and I on the outer edges, he on the west and I'm on the east. So if we could, Alex, maybe try to put something together. Maybe you can come up with something to recommend, and we can maybe meet briefly before our next meeting and kind of outline some things that could be done to help them.
You know, we thrive, and the county is thriving right now, and we need to take everybody with us.
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely.
Just a quick question. You mentioned Chase City. So is there no additional industrial property out there, right? Because Microsoft took up what we had, correct?
There is a very small site that is in the north side of Chase City. There is a warehouse that is in not great shape that is located there, which we do not own and has suffered some violations. So it is possible to cobble together a very, very small site up there, but there is not going to be the potential presently for a very large site, especially if you don't want to bound the town's growth potential. And that's part of the issues that have arisen with one of the solar facilities being sited over there, is it took off potential areas for the town to grow. So building it immediately on the line isn't always a great thing, because you cut off any residential potential. So you could get a small site up there, but you wouldn't get a large-scale industrial site because of the ones immediately, like you said, the ones immediately around it have been taken for that purpose.
Just thought that was another option.
Okay. All right, but if we can do that, maybe talk briefly before our next meeting, that'd be great. All right, anybody have anything else? We'll stand adjourned.